Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. It's everybody's favorite game. Guess that caster. I feel like my voice is pretty distinct. So maybe you guys can guess it in the chat. But somebody's probably going to humble me right now
I'm
and be
pretty
like, I have
sure.
absolutely know who that is. I have
I'm
no
pretty
idea.
sure you're JD Zed. Like,
Right.
it's me,
From
JD Zed, and I'm back
Down
from
Under.
Australia.
Why did we both do the same thing?
Because it's too fun. It's too fun not to do. It's
I'm
Pikachu.
Vegemite on stream live.
Oh, I was taking a drink when you said that. That almost murdered me.
I'd like to believe that this Is It Specie is completely is completely genuine and my accent is that good.
Oh. All right, all right. Well, I think we could probably show them who we are now.
Yep.
It's me, JD Zed.
And Willow Bees. Unfortunately, not Specie.
Oh.
But I think listen, I could give the accent a run, okay?
I want to hear your best Specie accent. I would try, but I know my British accent is rough.
What's like a line Specie would say? I'm trying to think of. I feel like he has some things that he frequently goes for.
We're gonna roast them cheaters and get them out of our game.
maybe like I don't know how I feel about that card, but like something like that. He's like always like, I don't know about that card choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a terrible friend and streamer. I don't actually watch very much Lorcana content.
It's actually harder than people give it credit for, I think, when you're making so much of it, because they like just the content itself, like to watch it, there's so much more that goes into it, right? Like it spends, you could spend hours like setting up a stream like this, so it's
also like I don't want to steal ideas and concepts necessarily.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Although, to be fair, this stream, if you think it looks good, I think it looks good. This has been like, I basically up the production value from competition. If I see someone else have their daily stream and they do something really cool, I do that. I used to not stream with a camera. And then, holy crap, I can't believe I forgot his name since it's been so long since he's been streaming. Zepha started streaming and he had a cam, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy a camera. Plus, a couple of months of Twitch I was finally able to afford something. So I got a camera, and then I started upgrading it, and then I see something else, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take this is mine now,
Yeah. Well, I also feel like I feel like our content creators are very entertaining, because I'll have like someone on in the background to try to support them, but I'm like totally gonna get my work done, and then I'm not getting my work done because I'm just like
watching.
Something I want to like contribute to, and now I'm entertained. So
yeah. I definitely know that feel.
Otherwise, I'm just like locked in on what they're saying. Color got me the other day. She was streaming, and I was like, okay, well, now I'm locked into the Slay the Spire 2 run. Like, I need to know how it goes.
It's every card played. You need to know what's happened. And, speaking of entertainment, we have quite the match today with Luxury Gaming versus a Flower Farm.
Let's go.
Some fantastic games, and it is, to infinity and beyond, our first week of Infinity. Let's find out if anything needs to be banned. If it's a perfect format, we shall see. Well,
I think the fun thing about Infinity, specifically in the ICL, is you can guarantee that only one person is going to be playing Sapphire Steel.
per team, yes. Like last week, I think we got the Blurple versus Blurple mirror match in the first round, so it's like, all right, get that out of the way. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're looking ahead to Infinity already, at least here in the States. So I'm excited. I think it really depends on the team whether or not they're going to be cooking in Infinity or not. I think for sure, like the loungers are very openly like gun ho about Infinity. They're like super excited for it. But I know someone like Flower Farm, they're probably going to be more like they have players that are still looking to play core. So I'm excited to see what the brews are, but I feel like in these early Infinity days, it might not be anything too spicy, but you never know with the ICL. I feel like it's a good amount of restriction that helps fuel the creativity.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see some spicy brews, but we still have another set to come out before the DLC.
Yeah.
So
hey, it's never too early to plan. Come on, it is never too early to plan.
Well, I mean, it's very important to know what the current metagame is.
For sure.
If it turns out there's a secret deck that's the best deck, and you don't realize it because you don't test until the next set comes out, once the next set comes out, people are going to be much more secretive about their decks. But here at the ICL, once the next set comes out, we're going almost all Infinity until the DLC.
Oh, yeah. Which is going to be super awesome. I think it's going to help the players a lot since there's not a lot of all the like online info that we have stats wise is going to be core right now. So I think this is going to be a really big hub for players to look at like what people are trying in Infinity, what's looking cool, fun, what's doing well, perhaps. So I think it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. I feel like Infinity is also a really big test of knowledge as a player because you can see things that you never even considered, or you'll be like, that is a card that was printed, but I don't know that I ever used it in my core days. But I think it's safe to say like establishing a semi-solid Infinity meta in this set is still relevant just because as Lorcana players, we typically just kind of update a few cards per set, so.
Yeah, and Infinity, it's kind of like, did you play since the beginning? If you didn't, you're going to have to go find some cards and brush up. You don't even know what Amber Steel Song's even capable of. You think it's an aggro deck. Oh,
right.
Just wait till you read A Whole New World, friend. Just wait.
That's such an interesting point. I really feel like there is a big difference between like the perspective on Infinity for someone like you said who has been playing since the beginning and someone who hasn't, because it's literally like two sides of the aisle. Someone who's been playing from the beginning, it is still like Amber Steel in their head and even like Sapphire Steel items, right? Like that's the only thing. But like somebody that might be new to the game, they're probably like more like Blurple, and like Sapphire and Amethyst is like a really great deck because that's like what they've seen for so long. So I think it's going to be fun regardless.
Have you seen the Blurple Infinity lists?
I'm hearing they're broken, but I haven't actually seen them.
I haven't played it yet, but I did go and buy 4 Cruellas because it looks so cool. Like, it's like this weird, like, it plays all the 1-drops that cantrip, like Diablo, Broom. There's another one I can't remember. And you basically... Yeah, Chernobog's followers. So you use the library and Cruella and Belle to like take advantage of cracking these characters early. And a cool synergy you might not realize that Cruella and Belle work together because one takes the top card of your deck, the other takes the character. So you get 2 ink and you draw a card, maybe more if if you have a library that's 2 cards and 2 ink. It's like boom.
Wow. I'm ready. We need to get hype for Infinity. Just like we need to get hype for the hype train. Here we go. JDZ coming in with the raid. Get in here, Mr. JDZ.
I'll get him here in a second. I gotta make his screen work. I've learned my lesson. It's not very nice to let them just like come in right away. Like if he shows up and he's like, eating a sandwich or something like that.
Yeah, he's still drinking some water. Well, welcome everybody. We are doing the ICL tonight. Thanks for joining us from over on JDZ's stream. We've got Luxury Gaming versus the Flower Farm. There he is. How'd you do that?
Back at it again. Yo, what up, Willow Bees? What up?
Hello.
I'm excited for some ICO action. Did I hear correctly? Is tonight Infinity?
Yeah.
Oh,
Stop it. Oh, baby.
So
we were just talking about some Infinity a little bit on the stream, and I'm here for it. Let's get it.
So we're trying to do equal amounts of core and Infinity, but we're stacking it to have more core at the beginning of the season. So we're doing 2 weeks core, 1 week Infinity, and we're maintaining that until the set release. And then I think it's only Infinity, but I'm going to double check right now because I
Sure.
can. Um, so yes, Wilds also releases after the main season finishes, as long as
Mm,
there's no delays.
Okay.
The season should be finishing on the 5th and 6th of May. Then Wilds comes out on the 8th, release anyways, and then we may be doing a couple exhibition matches if we can, if one, I'm not lazy. Mostly if I'm not lazy and put it together, we'll have a week of exhibition matches, which gives all the teams a couple of, like, a week or so to acquire the cards. We did it last season where we did it right away, and it was kind of a hassle. And you don't want these players having to go buy things really expensive. And some people order online; they don't have LGSs that have the cards.
mm-hmm.
So we give them a week, and then the top 16 is on the 20th. As soon as the top 16 starts, we're not doing it twice a week. We're only doing it once a week. So
Okay.
we're going to be doing it on Wednesday twice in a row. Then we're doing Tuesday twice in a row, and the finals is on the 9th. So it would be on the 20th is top 16, 27th is top 8, the 2nd of June is the top 4, and June 9th is the finals. And then the DLC is June 19th. So as long as there's no issues, we should be able to watch all of the ICL before the DLC. And I know the viewers want to know what's hot in Infinity. So as I said, the entire top 16 is only Infinity.
That's
New
Nice.
set
wild.
Infinity.
I like it. I'm with
That's
it,
gonna be
man.
awesome.
A shift to Infinity, I think that's the appropriate thing to do because after DLC and Ghent just finished, the next two DLCs will be Infinity. I believe that's probably going to take place even on the local level. I can imagine that the local tournaments and even the smaller tournaments will have a shift towards Infinity as well. A lot of CCQs towards that timeline are also Infinity, so I'm here for it. Let's see what people can cook, and let's make it happen. I don't know because I don't know. Do you guys think? I know there's a lot of talk about ban lists around. Do you foresee that there's going to be an Infinity ban list at all, or are you just going to just ride it until the wheels fall off?
Oh man, it's an interesting question. I feel like something. I think one thing I've learned about the developers, this is just my personal opinion, is
Mhm.
like they usually, well, obviously they have things planned out in advance, so they're not gonna, hit something with a ban, even in something like Infinity with such a large card pool, unless they know for sure that they don't have something being printed
Mm.
that's gonna deal with it. So I think part of the reason why we may not have seen any bans thus far in Infinity, because I think people are already kind of asking for something like that, just because of the nature of the previous Hiram and Fortisphere bans. But I really do believe that like Wilds Unknown must have something that they feel is gonna keep everything balanced if they,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if they haven't done anything yet, I think maybe
So,
not. I'm optimistic.
as
Same.
I told the players, eh, as long as I didn't space out and you're talking about Infinity, as I told the players, like, you have a prime example. If you think something needs to be banned in Infinity, play that deck and crush with it and show the world it needs to be.
Yeah.
And if you try to do that and fail, then we know it's not busted. Like, this is there's a big spotlight on these players during these Infinity matches because there's nowhere else playing Infinity yet. And they're gonna basically shape the meta. It's all like that's
Mhm.
a cool thing, I think. Like,
Yeah.
the world's your oyster.
Get out there and prove it. If it's broken, prove it. Let's see it. I'm here
Yeah.
for it. And if Wilds Unknown does not have a card called To Infinity and Beyond in the set, just cancel the whole set. Just throw it away. Just toss it.
There's going to
I'm-
be some words for sure.
I think that's going to be the biggest throw I think in the history of the universe. If there's not a card called To Infinity and Beyond, throw it away. Like I don't want an action. I don't care what it does. It just needs to exist there, and it should be something somewhat Infinity relevant. I think that would be really nice.
Yeah,
Personally.
that would be a very nice touch. I mean, the game's got an incredibly strong narrative team. I
Mhm.
can see it happening, right? I can see it.
Yeah.
But just in case, we got to go to discord.gg/digital arcana and open up a feedback forum and everybody go in, okay, and start hitting +1 on the thread that JD is going to
we'll start it.
there.
We're gonna start a thread called "Throw the Whole Set Away If," and then put the whole list of things. If we don't have iconic Buzz, iconic Woody, throw the whole set in the trash. Toss it. The whole thing. Trash it. If we don't have a
Thousands of
To
players
Infinity and
just going,
Beyond,
I agree.
throw the whole thing away. There it is. Cut it. We don't need it. Just get it out of here. There's it. I mean, it's a simple list. It's not the longest, most crazy list, but there's definitely something that can be there. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I want to see what these players can cook. Hopefully, people show a lot of interest and get out there and sell these events out. I know that Dortmund still has some slots left. Indianapolis hasn't gone on sale yet, So I'm interested to see how fast Indy goes, if it goes at all, and what are some of the offerings that are going to be offered in there as well. Maybe they get that reverse it, maybe do a core constructed event there, and let's see how people react to that as well. It's all information, and maybe if Infinity is proven to be something that is a very great thing that the community really latches onto, maybe it comes back next year. Or if it doesn't, maybe they just don't, and it loses the support that it's required. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think voting with our dollars like works in this kind of way as well, letting them know what we're interested in, what we're not. But I think like the prizes are pretty sweet. You got to imagine that even if Dortmund isn't, sold out, it's going to be because format aside, the coveted golden Mickey, right? That's still on the line there for the Illumineers that want to take it down. So I don't know. I think Infinity is still going to be successful, and it's just a matter of everybody's so dedicated to the current format that they're just not ready to pour their time into it. But like you said, once it's like Infinity season, the CCQs, at least here in the US, are like focused on that indie DLC. I think we're going to see a big turnout in the player base.
Right. Yeah. To that, I think the players will play, and it's been proven that there is a desire to prove your merit and to get to the world championship. There are a lot of highly contested, competitive players in our game, and they want to prove themselves. And getting to that world championship event is you got to take every opportunity you have if that's your goal. And that's a great opportunity, going to a DLC and just winning it and bypassing the national events or whatever, going straight to the championship. You can't miss out. So I fully expect the DLCs to perform well. How that meta is going to be, what the format looks like, how much emphasis people are going to put on it, that's still to be determined. Like, how much work are people going to put into it? How much innovation is going to go into the Infinity format? What is that meta game going to look like? Like Luke said, the ICL is going to play a great part in shaping the meta, as it often does, even in core constructed, even in every format that has come up since ICL has begun. There's been a heavy hand in shaping the meta there. So maybe more of that will happen for Infinity.
Well, absolutely. We normally would have started by now, and we did change it that the rounds start and they don't wait for us. But we are having an issue with a player not showing up yet for the main feature. So we're swapping over. We're going to be watching a different round one. We will be going back to the luxury versus flower farm for the next one. It looks like we're going to be watching the Lords of Lore versus SLTC in the first round.
Let's get it.
Okay. Are they off to the races? Are we joining in the middle of it?
They are off to the races. I'm trying to set it up right now, but
no worries. We'll do our best to keep you caught up, chat. We're gonna have to analyze the board in real time, see what we can make happen, but we got this.
Yeah, shout out to Luke, man. Look at Luke. He's locked in. You don't know.
Are you gonna see me in a little bit? Bye.
See you, Luke. And here we are. Willoughby,
here.
How have you been? It's been a long time, man.
It has been a long time, but it's a pleasure to be back in the booth with you. And I mean, what a treat for us coming out of the gate hot, right? Seeing the Sapphire Steel that everybody is so convinced is just a little too powerful. I don't know. What do you think, JDZ?
I honestly am one of those people. I'm some of those people. I think Sapphire Steel is a bit too powerful. I think it has two of the banned cards, Hiram and Fortesphere, both in the deck. And also, when you have a player like Harlan Sweet, who's been on Sapphire Steel for the longest time, getting a chance to get back to his roots, playing Smee and Fortesphere and Bell. So maybe playing that Kiwi version, maybe playing the standard version of Star Cogsworth, go down to the Inkwell as Rascal. Lords of Lore is going to shift Webby in Infinity. What are we doing, Willoughby?
It's so fun to see the Webby come down. I mean, and what a surprise with the Webby there not being able to quest to gain additional ink against the Sapphire deck, right? Like that's surprising. But of course, we take the line where we get that popsicle down, we draw that card, and this is a little bit of a different Sapphire Steel, okay? This is not all items. I think we potentially have a chance here, JDZ, for some Kiwi Birds action, okay? I'm seeing the Smee, I'm seeing the Bell, now I'm seeing a Nala? Come on, we're looking a little aggro heavy here.
I think that's what it is. Harlan, shout out to him again, as he's one of the architects of the Kiwi strategy. Him and Jack Shadows are two of the Illumineers who put that strategy on the map when it was at its peak. So now having the opportunity to play full power Kiwi again with the Mr. Smee bumbling mate back into the fold with the new additions that we've had. I think in the previous sets, that's one thing about Infinity. We're gonna have to continue to look at the new cards that have been printed and how they fit into these old models of decks that we have, and also what new decks can come to the forefront. I think this Kiwi strategy has been bolstered. There's been a lot of new bodyguards. There's been that Lilo all bundled up. A lot of the Ward 2 questing character that came out, the underdog character. There's been a lot of additions that this deck can use. So I think that's very important to see it find its spot. It seems like it's got a great meta share as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to definitely catch some players off guard. Now, we don't see any warded characters on Harlan's board yet, but you have to imagine that that's going to be a core part of this strategy. And speaking of ward, we're seeing that Prince John coming back on the other side of the board as well. So this is shaping up to definitely be interesting. But one thing that Kiwi Birds, right, so to speak, in Harlan's hands, the Sapphire Steel variant that's a little bit more low to the ground, is going to do very well, is not have cards in hand as fodder for that Prince John to trigger that card draw. Notice we just played a dock, and I believe we are already down to either 1 or 0 cards in hand. It might be 1 there off to the side. So like that Prince John is not going to be getting as much value as it may against another strategy like an Amethyst deck.
He does still have 2 cards in hand after that dock, but at the same time, I know exactly what you're saying. We are going to get some value out of this sudden chill, but at the same time, Willoughby's, to your point, I don't think this deck needs that much that many cards in hand. I think it operate very nicely, low to the curve like this. You have so much questing power already available. As what?
Look at this! We've got a Maui coming down. Maui hero to all. That's vintage, JDZ. That is going to be a set 1. First chapter, Christmas coming into play.
What are we doing? Why is this Ruby and Emerald? Who picked Ruby Emerald? Yo,
Emerald and Ruby. And you know what? Funnily enough, forget the discard stuff. This may just be a very great counter to this deck. This Maui hero to all having that 6/5 stat line coming in with Rush, okay, where Harlan is going to be constantly questing his characters, or that's the goal, right? Like this Maui is such a great counter here.
Yeah, Maui makes things super weird for Harlan, and I'm certain he was not anticipating playing Emerald and Ruby to start this thing out, but maybe he's going to try to leg it out, and maybe you could just beat this hero to all to the finish line by just questing and not worrying about what he's trying to do. But that is just such a crazy thing to see. Infinity already got my mouth on the floor with game number 1, Ruby and Emerald versus Sapphire and Steel.
Absolutely.
Kiwi. Wow, what a turn of events.
What a treat, really. I mean, this is what we want to see when we're playing Infinity, okay? So we're going to see this Prince John come down, and it looks like we are doing some singing, okay? Another staple back, okay? Had rotated out previously. We don't talk about Bruno, all right? Gonna go ahead, get a character off the board, and gonna discard a card as well, which is gonna trigger that card draw for Prince John. So Maui's looking like a pretty good singer. Not only does he challenge, he's got some pipes on him.
And he's gonna sit here and continue to get plus after plus because Harlan, like you said, he is going to have to continue to exert in order to get his game plan off the board. But eventually, if you don't find another dock, if you don't find a way to draw some cards as Bell comes in, full value Bell, paying a retail to get the apprentice inventor onto the board, and we're still questing in the face of this Maui. You're going to need a way to replenish her soon, as this Maui is going to continue to plus you down. But maybe you've ran the numbers and you realize you can probably get to 20 before Maui can do immense damage to your hitbox.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I do believe the lores are swapped here, which production just confirmed. So because of that, Harlan is going to be sitting at 15 lore. So at the very least, even if this Maui is going to make it and we see another one calm down, really saying there's no way you're getting to 20 next turn, okay? But still, it forces Rascal here to have to respond. So now Rascal is having to challenge instead of continuing to sing like something like this. We don't talk about Bruno like he was able to do before. So
and Harlan is kind of getting gas on resources. I believe the Diablo came down without the ability to be able to see any hands. So I think Harlan is in either 1 card in hand or in top deck mode, as we are going to get another quest in, getting all the way up to 17. Another Alice comes on through.
She's got War, JDZ. This might be this against the song deck, right? Because right now, Emerald and Ruby, they're trying to sing some things, okay? And not always is it targeted removal, okay? In this case, sure, it's going to usually target the hand. But having that ward, especially against a color like Emerald, which is probably going to have some bounce in there, you would imagine, things like Mother Knows Best potentially, that's really, really good to keep that lore on the board.
Oh, for sure. Maybe there's a world where Rascal can get to a card like a Pirate's Life to really throw Harlan off of his sacred timeline. But now you're getting to the point where we could just win the game next turn if you just ward up and then you know, what play a character off the top, ward it up with Alice Quest, and just rock out. That could just be a GG type condition. But if you can
Starting with the
find
Fortisphere.
if you can find a Pirate's Life, I think you can potentially slow him down enough to potentially turn the corner. So it all comes down to this: did you find a character?
This draw here. Gonna be the Headless Horseman. So this is interesting. Okay, the Bodyguard might be nice in another scenario where we had some more characters that we could then protect a little bit. But in this case, I don't think it's gonna be quite enough depending on what Rascal is able to get in hand here. But you would imagine Harlan's just going to keep these straight up and active, ready to go, but not quite exerting there to gain that lore, because if he doesn't and Rascal cannot respond, that is going to be the game.
I mean, you still could leave it ready, throw the Alice, get the Alice Quest out of the way right now, ward up the Headless Horseman, and then pass there, and hopefully that could be good enough. Or you can just keep them both ready and just keep your horseman vulnerable, and Alice still is going to be very difficult to engage with. So this is basically the game at this point. I'm certain there are outs. Like I said, Pirate's Life is a card that I'm looking at, or something else that can reduce lore, or maybe something that can exert. What is that card? I don't know how many exert cards you have in. Madame Medusa is one of those cards.
Is an interesting. Oh my goodness. So I think part of the reason why he decided not to quest with the Alice and ward up the horseman is because of that half shark there. So we got another Maui on the board. It's the half shark. Didn't want to trigger any abilities for those actions to come back to hand. But this Tremaine, I mean, is just wonderful. Talking about ward, that's going to get around ward. Absolutely. So of course we're going to go ahead, pick that horseman because it's only got one lore on it. But oh my goodness, what a turn. Rascal might be able to make a go of this here.
Yeah, I think Harlan's going to have to continue to build up this board. You need another character. I think you had to get that Strength of Raging Fire there, which is probably a terrible top deck in this instance, because you just really needed a body at that point. But now Rascal's going to get the opportunity to quest quite freely. I think you can quest all the glimmers here right now and just gain a tremendous amount of lore and really put some pressure on Harlan to get another character. You had the supervise, and that was able to bolster some stream, but I don't think there was a hand to be discarded. And now you have game imminent. You need to find something that can juice, and you got caught up there. Wow.
And there it is. I mean, this was a sneak for sure. I think he really just caught up, like got right under him without you even suspecting it. I think things like that Tremaine, that half shark really kept the game in check because again, Harlan was not able to turn that Alice sideways by questing, okay? Because then sure, you're going up to 19, but that half shark gets to start bringing things back.
Absolutely.
And it just gets too risky. I mean, we already got to 16. So imagine if we were able to bring back in action, we could have gone up to like 19 or something crazy like that. So the screen is changing before our eyes. We're gonna find out what we're doing here.
We can't leave us like that. Oh, look, baby, we gotta go back.
And we're switching dimensions. Okay, we're hopping.
We gotta go back.
Inkwell.
We gotta finish that. Hold up. We can't leave
Coming up on the other side to see 2 new Illumineers and 2 new teams. Okay, this is crazy. Let's go.
Man.
All right, so let's see. We got Sean, I believe it's Sean McIntyre for Luxury, Superior Synergy for the Flower Farm. We're looking like we're in the middle of this game here, but I'm seeing Emerald cards and I'm seeing Amethyst cards. So
I'm with it. And Superior Synergy is a crazy handle. I love that handle. It sounds like a team in itself. And
we're back.
We're jumping back.
And we're back, folks. Just kidding. You didn't see a thing, okay? Because Mr. Wonderland here is performing magic, okay? Some Disney magic.
And no disrespect. I don't know what's happening here. No disrespect. we gotta finish this. We gotta see it. That game is gonna be there. This game is gonna happen fast.
This is too interesting.
We can't go away from this now because
absolutely.
And this is something, Willow Bees, on a completely serious note. This is something that I would hope would happen in Infinity. I think there are so many opportunities out there for deck building. It seems like a deck builder's paradise if you just try. If you want to just give up, if you want to mail it in and say it's High Armor bust, it's Diablo or bust, it's all these kind of broken cards or bust, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. You're selling yourself short and you're not giving yourself the chance. We see that there are games. The Kiwi deck is very viable. This red-green deck wasn't even on my radar, but it seems super cool, man. And I'm so excited now. I think that's really awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're so right. I think, the community as a whole tends to kind of see what's working, see what the pros are doing and just kind of stick to that. But I think if we really take a chance, and especially in a format like Infinity, you literally have Infinity and Beyond at your fingertips, right? Every card in the pool is available to you. I think that there's some real things to be discovered there. And if you think Monstro combo is the first true viable combo to be in this game, you're just not playing enough Infinity. I am sure there are ways to break this game in a really fun way, right? To get some really cool things going. So I'm excited to see that like two Illumineers are willing to take on that challenge and do something new. Especially with Emerald and Ruby, because you know what? To see that it still has the discard. Okay, it has a little bit of a discard package in there. But I'm excited to see this early game again from Rascal, because we didn't even see singers like Powerline, right? Max Goof. Those are some new cards that we got post rotation that even in Infinity are still going to be relevant. So here we go. We're starting out hot with the popsicle, putting the bell down for free. And we got to draw a card off of it. You just love it.
Bring it back.
You just love it.
Bring it back. Take me back, dude. You know what, Willow Bees? I'm all in. Take me back. Popsicle, play bell, take me back. I'm nostalgic for it, even though it was only a few months ago. We make it seem like the cards got rotated out years and years ago.
But they were so fun. They were so fun. We just miss them so much. Okay.
Checking out Harlan's hand. The curve looks pretty juicy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got everything you want to do, it seems, as you're able to build all the way up exactly what Kiwi wants to do. You want to play a character on 1, on 2, slam a bodyguard, quest, exert, got the Nala there, 3 questing threat into a potential ward into a bodyguard situation. So the curve's looking nicely.
Oh yeah, lots of lore coming down already. This Nala so nice here. On the other side, how can we respond? Oof. Okay. I thought we were paying for it full out. Excuse me. We are doing shifty things, okay? And we are having that Diablo come down, okay? And immediately being able to draw a card when we pass that turn. Now, I don't know that Harlan's going to have too many removal options in his deck because of the build that he's playing.
Yeah, maybe you can get a Strength of Raging Fire. We saw that there was a Storm Rage on. Belle can sing that song quite nicely. It's way in her key. She can definitely get the vocal assortment to Storm Rage on if need be. And I think she might be gearing up for it. No, she's questing. I didn't miss Diablo. I don't think I missed him very much. Get this guy out of here. Oh, I don't miss it. I didn't miss him. I didn't miss the Devoted Herald too much.
Well, I think that's fair to say. But you know what? I think in Infinity, he is much more in check, okay? He's not flying quite as high anymore. I think, like you said, those songs, Let the Storm Rage On, Strength, are things that players are going to be playing and ready, okay? Having at the ready for that Diablo. But boom! Coming down with another action here, getting that Brawl, banishing a character with 2 strength or less, but we're not really developing our board a whole lot here.
Yeah, just kind of trying to keep Harlan off of his curve, keep the strength number down, keeping the questing power down. Nala going for 3 or actually 4 in that situation would have just been quite problematic, as now we have the Alice who's warding up the Bell being able to quest. So that's a completely warded board. Going to the 4 ink turn. Granted, there's not a lot of targeting effects. We saw the Brawl go through going on that 4 ink turn. So now I think Rascal needs to establish a heavy challenging character on this 4 ink turn before he gets that Maui, and then maybe he can swing 2 characters next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gonna be having to ink that Brawl because of all of the ward on every single character here, thanks to that Alice. Not gonna be able to play this Maui down, right? 1 ink short. So you gotta imagine that he might have altered for it and he might have it ready for next turn. But this turn, like you said, definitely gotta develop the board. Starting with another Diablo. Don't think we're gonna be able to develop anything else here. So we're just gonna no, we're not going on a quest. We're gonna go ahead, challenge in. I guess you got to start chipping away somehow, you know?
Yeah, I think I don't hate that play at all. And you could take in your if Harlan were able to exert that Alice again, you can send your other Diablo in on a challenge, but then you're going to walk headlong. I know this deck really doesn't play Tinkerbell. Maybe slip one of those in there and blow up both of your Diablos. They're both holding on to those 1 damages. Alice continued to quest. Harlan, be ye not afraid. And I think this Bell just maybe went for a 4-piece chicken or 5-piece there.
Absolutely.
A 3 lore quest.
Lots of lore, more lore than she probably should be getting, right?
Yeah.
And those Alices, again, having 2 of them on board, everything has ward here. So now we've got ward and bodyguard, and that puts Harlan up to 12. This is everything he's going to want to be doing. Sure, we get this Maui down for Rascal, going to be able to take out that Horseman. We may even be able to get Alice off the board with these Diablos, but it's still kind of good for Harlan, right?
I don't know. That was a pretty dynamic turn for Rascal as well. And we have these 2 Diablos now able to draw 2 additional cards each turn. Harlan has to be getting to the point where he needs a refill, either a dock or some way to draw some additional cards, as the Diablos are giving Rascal 2 more cards. Maybe another Maui comes in next turn, or another rush character followed by that Lady Tremaine that we saw had so much impact in that previous round. So we saw Harlan do this same technique last turn, and he got caught. But this one, I don't know. He might be too far ahead, Willow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right here that the good thing about that Diablo is it's going to be drawing cards every single time. So that dock drawing 2 for Harlan also means that Rascal got to draw as well. So we could just be potentially drawing him into answers here. We're going to use this bell, finish off that Maui. I think that makes sense. Okay, we had to get that off the board. Simply too strong. But now Rascal's going to have a full grip here. He's going to have lots of cards in hand. Look, I think that's his cards right there. Oh, look at that pile.
That's a lot to work with. But there is a game in play for Harlan, who, if unchecked here, he's going to, win the game on that following turn. So Rascal still needs to make something happen. Maybe even another Maui to come through and take down his Alice. We still haven't seen a copy of Pirate's Life yet. Double Diablo seeing Pirate's Life to knock that lore total down a little bit, followed by maybe a Lady Tremaine to take another character off the board. Granny only hitting that dock. So you have some lines to keep the game going, but you need to find something groovy here as Chip finds his way down to Inkwell.
He's got to find something, absolutely. At the very least, he can challenge in with both of his Diablos. Sure, he would lose them, so that would probably be his absolute last line. But we know for sure that the game is not over, right? He can, as of right now, at the very least, remove an Alice. Maybe he wants to remove an Alice if he absolutely has to, if he's got nothing in hand, thanks to that ward that's going to be able to really deal with this cleanly, and then drop something like a Tremaine to get the remaining one of the remaining 2 characters. Starting off with a Prince John, you got to imagine there's a follow-up there then,
and that is going to be the supervise. So we can base boost the strength of the Diablo. I believe it adds by 2, so you will have one Diablo will be strong enough to at least engage with the Alice by itself, and you can keep one Diablo around, and you're able to get a discard as well. So that's a pretty decent card. Now you're going to need some more follow-up. Like I said, Pirate's Life still looking alive and well. Diablo going on a song. Sudden chill.
Getting all the cards out of hand, drawing us some cards all the while. Gotta imagine he's digging for something here. You mentioned that Pirate's Life. Maybe now for next turn it would be teed up thanks to those 3 cost characters to get this Webby down. I think just because we had some floating ink. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and use that Diablo. So yeah, I think that supervise helped a lot, right? Helped us still keep a board here while being able to keep Harlan off of having the game there.
My bad. It's not supervise. It's undermine. I keep saying supervise.
Undermine.
It's undermine, not supervise. My bad,
I'll give it to you. I didn't know what it was. So
it's the dueling. It's the duel. I keep saying supervise. It's undermine. Okay, my bad. My brain is bad. But
not a card I've had the pleasure of playing with, so I was relying on you there.
It's Ruby Emerald, man. Who's playing Ruby Emerald? Nobody. Okay, it's the undermine. I know what
Rascal's looking pretty good here. After today, we might have some Illumineers playing it. Production letting us know that was Mr. Wonderland, Luke Wonderland's reveal cards. Very cool to see.
Shout out to Luke reveal. Oh, shout out to the ICL reveal. Shout out to Luke reveal. Shout out to Wonder Twitch. All
right, this is 6 ink exerted here, JDZ. Is it the lady? Oh, it is not Lady Tremaine, but it is another lady here, a chair lady, as the Illumineers like to say. Madame Medusa, okay, coming in and getting a character off the board. And then the Prince John shaking the bibbity bobbity boo to replay that Madame Medusa. That is a traditional board wipe, some might say.
Hold up, let him cook, okay? Let him cook out here. I'm loving the action.
This is incredible.
But we have the Cogsworth, who is a GG. You need Tremaine here, and that is Tremaine or Buzz. Cogsworth does quest for 2. He does have ward. He does give resist. What a busted broken card. What were they thinking?
Let's see. Well, hold on. Are we scoop? Okay, start with the Diablo. Hold on. We're slow rolling it. We have the Tremaine. We're slow rolling it. Let's see it.
No chance you're slow rolling like that.
You're definitely slow rolling it.
Yo.
You're slow rolling it. I'm telling you, JDZ. I'm telling you, you got to peek at the hand first. You got to let the chat have the anticipation. Make it up. We get the Pirate's Life going. This is incredible. Warning, headphone users. Rascal showing us that Emerald and Ruby has legs in Infinity.
He's popping off. Oh my goodness, dude. So we know the hand is only Pete's games referee, another warded character comes through, and the Pete gets sent down into the inkwell, and at least to protect him from being discarded. You don't have enough ink to play the Pete, and we might have another turnaround comeback scenario.
This is incredible stuff here coming out of Emerald Ruby in this Infinity Week here at the ICL. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen next. This is incredible because now that Pirate's Life, sure, we've got Alice, she's warded up, okay, but just like we saw last time, we're on 10. We're questing for a ton here, JDZ. We've got Prince John as a 2-quester, Lady Tremaine 2-quester, okay? We're getting a lot of lore.
Harlan needs to find another dock. You need to find some more card draw. You need to find a way to replenish your hand and flood this board a little bit because these Prince Johns are 2-questers. Madame Medusa is a 2-quester, or Lady Tremaine is a 2-quester. You have the Diablo and the Madame Medusa able to quest as well. We got everyone's questing. We're just slamming more characters to this board over and over and over again.
Oh my
Harlan
goodness.
might be in trouble. I think this game might be over, Willow.
This game might be locked for sure. Rascal making Emerald and Ruby look so good. The thumbs up from Harlan. Oh man, it's just not gonna do it. It's gonna be too much. He gets the dock off the top, but it didn't matter, JDZ.
He got it. It was too little too late. And wow. What a way to start Infinity ICL week. That was insanity. Holy smoke. That was not on my bingo card. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Shout out to Rascal. Shout out to Harlan for coming out. I think that matchup seems quite abysmal for you. I mean, being able to engage with the ward so effectively with those Lady Tremaines. That Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo play, like I never saw that one coming. Didn't see that one. I didn't see it coming.
But I didn't see it coming, but I'm glad I got to watch it happen because that was incredible. Okay. Yeah, that was really, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to talk to these players here, but if we do, that's something that we don't do that anymore. I'm so back. I watch every single week and I love being here. But that is going to be game 1. I'm not sure what our game 2 is going to be, but that is showing us the power of Ruby and Emerald. Okay. Diablo's still viable, right? In the world of angels, in the world of all the songs.
It seemed really, really good. Okay. It seemed, and honestly, I just missed the power level of Ruby in general. Those Ruby cards, you forget. We haven't seen Ruby in so long with the core constructed game. Ruby has kind of fallen by the wayside a bit, but Ruby used to be really good, and those cards show you why. We saw the impact of Brawl. It was insane. We saw the Madame Medusa. It was insane. We saw the Lady Tremaine. It was insane. We saw the Maui. Those are all cards that were played so heavily, and now we get a chance to really go back to the past and see how important those cards were for us and what an incredible performance it was. We're jumping right in. We got our feature match. I believe this is still game number 1. Underway. We have Blurple, it seems, versus Emerald, and still, I want to say, Discard. This is the deck that Luke was talking about in the preamble of the show. The new look Blurple Infinity deck. It seems super, super good as well. It has a very clear game plan. It can ramp, it can draw. It's a vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw a card there off to the side. I think it may be that Cruella de Vil that Luke was also talking about, like you said, at the start of the stream. So that's going to be once during your turn, whenever a character with 2 costs or less is banished, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. And during your turn, each opposing character with 2 costs or less gets -1 strength. So this inkwell, okay, there it is. There's the rest of it. I was like, it didn't look too big, but there it is. There's the rest of the inkwell there. Okay. I'm not sure what turn of the game this is, but you have to imagine that she's probably doing some things, helping this Illumineer ramp up a bit. And also, is that an Ichabod Crane? That's also going to be some extra ramp there. But on the other side of the board, it's looking pretty dominant.
Yeah, I think this Emerald Steel deck has been a strategy that has been one of the best strategies since it was implemented. I'm so sad to see Emerald Steel where it is now. It's very similar to the Ruby decks of the past. It's been nerfed so hard, it's basically unplayable in our current core constructed metagame. But there were a time for those new Illumineers who was watching this where this deck dominated the entire game for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it seems like more of that is happening here in Infinity. You're getting base boosted with that new Max Goof, and just going back to the past, bringing in that Beast Tragic Hero. We have the Ursula, Deceiver of All. We have the Prince. You have the entire Genjutsu lock this is almost unbeatable. What you have here, I
Wow.
don't know a way around this situation that you had established.
Yeah, typically at this point in the game, when Emerald and Steel has a board that looks like this, it pretty much is locked. In this case, we just discarded, it looks like all or almost all, I can't tell quite how many Superior, maybe he has one more in hand, but we discarded 2 cards off of the Bruno and the Sudden Chill alone. Like, doing a lot here, this Emerald deck, and also being able to draw all the while with, again, cards that we know and love, like Prince John
and Beast. I mean, this is basically the GG type scenario. It's really tough to get out of this spot because you rarely can keep characters in board. We now have that Muse Max Goof lock set up where now Max Goose can be deployed to the board every turn, grab another song back, resync with the Muses, balance the Max Goose, get value with the Ursula, and it just turns into this endless cycle of pain as you're just drawing and supporting your whole situation. And we have the Hidden Cove sitting up there just for the vibes as well. So Superior Synergy, you have a cool deck, but this is just a tough road to hoe as Beast gets you another card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the Inkwells as well. I mean, Superiors is now stacked, but previously, I believe Sean, our Emerald Steel player, has a bigger Inkwell than our Sapphire player, right? That tells me that something went super wrong in this game. They should at least be matched maybe at this point, or you definitely would expect with cards like Ichabod and cards like that Corella, you would expect to see a little bit more. We're going to have the Muses here, sing Strength of a Raging Fire on that goat. It's going to gain us a lore, but we're kind of far away here.
Yeah, interesting choice on the mute. Now we have the opportunity to bounce that Ichabod Crane back to
the
hand.
Reason why you want to do that is because you're bouncing the Ichabod, and then also if you were to target that Ichabod, it would go into the Inkwell, I believe, if I remember that card correctly. So that's why. And then also it looks like we had some discard there.
Yeah, bouncing it back to the hand, but I was worried about that Max Goof, maybe keeping that cycle set up. I guess you could just do it next turn. You're in complete command control of this entire atmosphere right now. There's really nothing that Superior Synergy can do. You feel quite safe as one library is up, and you're not even going to accost the library at all. We're going to let it sit there, gain you a little piece of lore, but your board is just completely super massive right now. And this is, I think you're feeling fine. Demona. Ouch.
Yeah, Demona coming down. This is a card that would normally be super impactful, super hyped to see hit the board, right? But we're not playing core. This is Infinity. And right now, looking at all of these characters that were already exerted, adding more cards, it's just not doing too much when we can potentially get those 3 cards immediately discarded on Sean's side.
Yeah, if you had like a board already established and you can play this Demona to maybe clear a ton of characters off, maybe we're talking. But right now, it just seemed like the Demona came in, and I think she's just going to get finessed right up out of here. Maybe a Bruno, maybe a Strength or something like that. We know the Strength exists as well because Max Goof also exists, and we can just bring that Strength right back to the hand and play it again, and it's just going to be just the pain train continues.
Oof. And you called it Caster Curse, as we like to say. I believe there was another Prince John coming down, and then, just for good measure, going to do that, we don't talk about Bruno on that Demona, so we're now going to draw 2 cards, okay? Because we sequence this perfectly. So once we discard one of the cards in hand because of Bruno, both of those Prince Johns are going to draw us 2. So I really don't see a way back here for Superior Synergy. I think the lore is just getting a bit too high. Our board's not quite threatening enough, right? In this case, now no characters, constantly getting our hand discarded down, drawing 2 every single time. The mental fortitude for this to not be a scoop here from Superior Synergy is incredible.
Yeah, and that was just a complete finesse as well, because you're able to come back in and sing the Sudden Chill with the Ursula Deceiver of All, and then you rip both of the cards from hand after the bounce. It's just that is too much. This right here is filthy. I mean, I'm with it. If for Infinity, if this is how you want to give it up, this is also a part of the game. You better figure out a way to beat this, because that is absolutely repulsive. That's disgusting. Okay, it's grotesque. You better be ready for it. I don't know if Hiram is going to be everyone's like, oh, Hiram. He's going to hard carry a lot. Yeah, he's going to do some money numbers for you. I don't think he's beating all of that. If you get that set up, it's over. The game is done. So we need to be prepared. I don't know what you need. I don't know how to fix it, Willoughby's. I got to get into the dojo myself.
Well, we're going to have Be Prepared and Raging Storm, okay? So you got to imagine something is going to be relevant. But you know what? To speak to the power level of these decks, okay, we've seen, like you said, things like Hiram and Sapphire Steel items builds have potentially been, too powerful, right, in Infinity. But then you see something like this Emerald Steel strategy that, again, you're like, this is too much. It's also too powerful. But when you have maybe, let's say, like 3 decks that are all too powerful, doesn't that mean that
nothing is powerful?
Nothing is powerful, but then it's the matchup roulette. So maybe that's not true. And people way smarter than me are going to have some analysis on that.
And you figure it out. I mean, that's where the metagame comes in. And I think the metagame usually, in normal circumstances, the metagame can kind of solve and resolve itself. We haven't even mentioned like the Amber Steel strategies, both of them, all three of them. Maybe there's like a mid-range one, maybe there's a whole new world one, maybe there's an aggro one, maybe there's the Chief Powhatan, maybe you can work that guy. I don't know. The opportunities are literally endless on what can be what and what beats what. There's just too many decks to play. So I would suggest, at least how I'm going to tackle it, I'm just going to play the deck that I want to play. And then we'll show up, and then whoever I match up, I'm not going to do any meta analysis. I'm not going to even think about what they're doing because it's just too much going on. And if you just do, I think if you're just doing the level one, if you're just doing the base, I'm going to play Hiram, I'm going to pop Porter Sphere, I'm going to do these kind of things. I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. I think
for sure
you might be getting cooked if someone's out there cooking. So don't be like me. Get out there and try to explore some stuff and find some people to test with and train and make this thing great. But that was some fast and furious matches too, and that was so much fun. We got another one coming up for round one still.
Oh, let's go. JDZ Willow in the booth nonstop, baby. We just keep going all night long. Chat, get ready, okay? Log back in because we are looking at some Ruby and Sapphire mirror match action. Okay, so this is something we know. Yeah. I won't say we love. Some Illumineers do not love this, do not miss this. Okay, but me, I was always scared of this color. Okay, this ink combo was nasty to me. And it looks like it's doing some nasty work on Daniel's side of the board. We've got a Tamatoa, happy as a clam, already down. We've got a Hiram down as well. We've got some items too. I mean, looking pretty strong on Daniel's side, but who knows what's going on? We just jumped into this.
Yeah, this is the match. I think this is the mirror match that everyone is expecting to see. The Sapphire decks are going to be eating good. Hiram is still going to be him. It's a great phenomenal card, one of the best cards ever printed, one of the only cards to ever receive that ban title. So clearly it's a super overpowered card as the big Sisu empowered sibling comes on through and just clears this board. Hiram, see you later. We keep our own Hiram there in reserve. But I think this deck is great. It's another power player that we have. There could be some counterplay with the aggressive decks. There could be something with those discard decks. Maybe you can discard before Hiram can get established. Maybe there's a world you can add item removals to your strategy. I'm not sure, but you have opportunities. You got to get out there and try it. So Ruby and Sapphire, we have the dime is down. Maybe we got Hideaway coming in for Tinkerbell.
Yeah, I mean, this is fun to see, right? That Tamatoa, don't you miss it? He just quested and got that lucky dime into play for free. Okay, that's 7 cost on Inkable coming down completely for free. All right, so somebody got scammed there. I don't know who it was, but that definitely wasn't retail. Okay, we talk about retail. That was not it.
That was completely above retail for free. I mean, that was. I remember that happening. I was like, come on, guys, let's knock it off with the for free. Like, what are we actually doing? Maui Half Shark is going to come through and get that. I believe that was Vitalosphere.
Yeah, Vitalosphere giving that rush. Mm-hmm. So very nice there. I believe he challenged in. I actually didn't see what he challenged into, but it wasn't the empowered
sibling.
Was
the Hiram Flabbersham who's going to get knocked out of there.
Oh, okay. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and put a Pirate's Life into the Inkwell. I believe we played a Popsicle as well. So interesting to see that Pirate's Life. I guess it's a little too early for it. Usually more of a closer with these kinds of decks, but you also have the dime on board, so that might not be the core of your strategy. On the other side, though, we're playing another Tamatoa of our own. And there's the Hideaway that you mentioned.
Here it is. I think if you're playing in this format and you're playing Sapphire, you might just have to play Hideaway. I think at this point, I hate to use words like staple or mandatory or card that you just must play, but I think Hideaway at this point has proven itself that it's deserving of at least one slot or a way to remove the lucky dime from, because I think the lucky dime is going to be one of those cards that you need to have an answer to because it will just immediately win the game no matter what. It can just always RKO out of nowhere. So being able to take the lucky dime, put it into the discard pile is not always going to be good enough because there's so much recursion for that. So you have to get into the Inkwell, or maybe if there's a world, you can put it underneath the deck. I'm not sure if that card exists either, but I think it's a mandatory card, and I'm glad that that Tinkerbell had access to that to keep this game going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to read what this card is, but I'm a bit blind.
Might solve a mystery. That's the one where you can. It's a song. Yes. You can get one item or one item and one character. Maui sings that, so that's just a plus. That's such a great card coming in from Whispers in the Well, making its way into Infinity. Definitely has some Infinity implications with that card. 4 cost inkable song. Maui saying it.
Yeah, and then another action coming down as well. So this time not being saying we're just going to go ahead. I believe we're just paying the cost for that. How far I'll go there. Taking a look at some of our options. So we're getting some lore here. Okay, chipping away on the lore totals thanks to that Maui Half Shark. We're also keeping the hand nice and healthy, not only from that How Far I'll Go, but also now from this Hiram Flaversham. Gonna even allow us to draw 2 more cards. Okay,
eating popsicle with the Hiram. This just seems like this is just so. Willoughby, I think I kind of like it. I'm sorry. I think I'm becoming more and more convinced that Infinity is good. Looking at our core constructed game, because our core constructed game is great. I love it, but it does seem like it's more rudimentary. I ink one thing, I do one thing, I pass. You do one thing, you ink one thing, you pass it back to me. I like this doing all this stuff. You played songs, you're singing, you play an act, you play a guy. You're doing so much. These plays seem a bit more dynamic. You have so much fuel to just propel you into late game scenarios. I think it's more intriguing to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hear you. I think it's hilarious for us to be, for you to be so hype over the Ruby and Emerald and say, hey, try something new. And then you see Ruby and Sapphire and you're like, I'm here for this. If I'm here for anything, this is the thing that
I'm talking Infinity overall. No, even in that game, we had the Medusa with the Bibbidi and the Baba.
No, for sure.
It's not just the one thing or
of course. No, I'm teasing you. But we did hear that this is game 3. Okay, so this is going to be for all the marbles here. This is important. We love a game 3. Always high stakes. Right now, Daniel pretty comfortable in the driver's seat. But the one thing that we know about these Sapphire and Ruby decks is that they can dig. Okay, they can find the cards that they need better than any other deck sometimes. So doesn't look like we're going to go for any dig strategies here. Looks like we're just going to go ahead and deal with that Hiram. That's a pretty expensive answer to the Hiram, but it's a decent body as well. That's going to help us push the lore total a little bit there. But this Half Shark is sticking around and looking pretty dangerous.
I know. And another thing about this Ruby and Sapphire mirror, I agree with you 100%. But this game it's even if you're not at 20, the game is still going on. This game can flip in a heartbeat. I've seen these players go from 0 to 20 in literally one turn. You just slam a bunch of items, you get the big Tamatoa down, he goes uncontested, you slam a Lucky Dime, you quest, you plop, and the game is over. So I would hold my breath, even though it does appear as if Daniel T is getting into a position. We have these double sharks up. You're continuing to find these actions, how far I'll go, continue to accelerate, you're continuing to keep your resources aplenty. Now you're gaining 2 each turn, so I like that position. As Belle, beautiful and enchanted, strange but special, is into the inkwell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you that it's never over till it's over, especially because we can find things like Dime. But you got to imagine with these 2 Half Sharks on the board and these items, these actions constantly coming down, now gaining us 2 lore at a time. We're all the way up to 13 here, JDZ. Yeah. You got to imagine that, I mean, all of the items it would take to really start to make Inkerbell's board scary might just be too slow. I think we have to deal with these Half Sharks before we can even think about pushing our own objective.
I agree. I think and as sad as it may sound, because Inkerbell would like to play a card like Be Prepared, but you want to do it in a way where you get a bit of advantage in that exchange. However, if you were to sing to Be Prepared with the Sisu and Bolden Warrior, and maybe quest the Tamatoa, put in your own item, and then you can get some value from that while continuing to establish your game plan, that might be some value there. It might be worth doing, but at the same time, you see how Daniel has now created more threats. We have that Belle Strange but special. We have enough ink and Inkwell to get her up to her full value. I believe that should be enough ink to do that, and that's a complete win condition on its own.
It looks like you wrote the script, JDZ. He went ahead and took that exact line, which is great, right? We needed that to happen. But one thing I want to point out: do you see the second deck of cards on Daniel's side? He's not cheating, folks. That's just his hand, okay? His hand is impossibly large here, and I would venture to say so is his Inkwell. This is something that used to happen a lot to these Sapphire and Ruby decks, or Sapphire decks in general. If they're not careful, they can run out of cards, okay? Now that rule has changed a little bit, so it makes it a little bit safer, but still, I mean, Daniel's got plenty of cards, and he's still digging for stuff. He's picking up the popsicles, he's putting things into play. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, so this is game on board right here. I mean, that's an incredible point, Willow Bees. I think it's this is you're what are you gonna do now? I don't know how many Be Prepareds are being played in these decks. Typically, you do have that Sapphire Coil, so maybe you can get to another Sisu. Maybe you can ink, reduce the strength of the Tamatoa, and then get a Sisu here. That'll be a pretty dynamic play to clear this entire board and just continue to play on your back foot. But eventually, you're going to get out resourced out of this game as the smaller Sisu is going to come on through just to get that Stranger Special off the board. You
gotta do it.
Yeah.
That Bell is questing for a lot, and Inkerbell is going to be doing her best to keep control of this board. You're seeing her dig as well, things like that Popsicle. We saw the vision of the future earlier, but then passing it back to Daniel, it's just Daniel's doing too much here. We're drawing so many cards, and so even though Daniel can have like 10 cards in hand right now that aren't helping him, because they're all probably like at least 5 of those cards are going to help him find a card that really can, right? Yeah. So I think this is the problem, is we're just getting a little bit outpaced and out-resourced here. And being at 16, getting something like this, like you said, the Sisu on the board, it might be too much for Inkerbell to deal with.
I concur. I concur mildly, because even if you do hypothetically clear the board next turn, we see that more threats that might solve a mystery is looking so good. Grabbing the Tamatoa and the Lucky Dime back in hand while putting so much pressure up on the board. So even if you do clear this board, guess what? We have another Tamatoa, we have 2 more Popsicles coming back, and we have a Lucky Dime being deployed next turn as well. So Hiram's going to come through and do his best heavy lifting as he can. But this one seems like it might be imminent.
Drawing a lot of cards, but we got to throw them on the table. We are not able to close it out there. We just didn't really get to see what our deck wanted to do on Inkerbell's side of the board. Meanwhile, Daniel, like I said, had 2 decks because his hand was so large.
Daniel's deck was kind of cooking too. That might solve a mystery. I think there were multiple copies of that card in there.
Write it down, chat. That's a 4 of in the Sapphire.
Added to the deck. It seemed really, really, really good in that situation. So Luxury coming on through. I believe that was that Luxury or was that
No, that was a different team. I think we pivoted.
Oh, that's Ignite. Okay. So Luxury did win our main feature match, but we were able to jump around the globe a little bit and see a ton of different decks from that round one. And Willow Bees, I'm convinced. I'm a big Infinity believer now. I like what I saw. I think there was enough there to tell us that there's going to be a pretty healthy metagame, and people are going to start to incorporate some of the newer cards. We saw the Might Solve a Mystery. We saw Demona still finding her way into some strategies. So maybe it's not as cut and dry as we thought.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's always room to grow. And I think because, again, the card pool just gets so much bigger when you look at Infinity. There's no way that we've tried it all. There's no way that we figured it all out. So sure, leading up to set rotation, we might have had like some staples like Ruby and Sapphire, but that's going to be no more. Okay. From Fabled onwards, and then all the way up to Wilds Unknown, still down the line, going to be legal in that Indianapolis DLC. There's like 600 or so cards that have entered the card pool that like just waiting to see how they synergize. Okay, there's going to be thousands of cards available to us. What are we doing if we're just going back to the same staples? Okay, let Emerald and Ruby cook. Let it cook. Rascal is on to something. You just have to be willing to hear him out. Stand for something.
You gotta try
fall for nothing. Okay, Illumineers.
I'm with it. And I was missing. Oh, and we have this here on the screen. Check it out. This is a new CCQ that had just been added coming in at Fort Smith, Arkansas. This is Sharp Gaming CCQ taking place in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I've been there a ton of times. It's going to be a blast. Signups for this event are open. They're very, very, very close to hitting their minimum threshold required. I'm sure it will, but if you're in that Fort Smith area, if they hit it. Production coming in and telling me they did hit the minimum threshold required, so this will for sure be a CCQ. It's going to be an absolute vibe. Shout out to McPhilly and the organization down there, Sharp Gaming. It's been a wonderful, wonderful store in that region, Fort Smith region. If you're in the Midwest, mid-central flyover country,
is
America,
that Midwest? Is that Midwest?
It's
Arkansas?
Arkansas? Just mid.
That's just south. I call it the South. I don't know.
Is it Midwest? Because St. Louis is Midwest, or
it's the South. Chat says it's the South.
That's South.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the
It can't be
South.
South. Where's Midwest then? Is that?
I'm in the
That's like
Midwest, kind of, but like
you're in the
Minnesota,
West.
kind
You're in
of.
the frontier country. Midwest is like
You're in the
Midwest.
West, brah.
Yo,
You're in the West,
I'm
JDT.
in the
That's
West.
true.
West. You're in the frontier. I think Midwest
I'm on
is
like the
like
corner of the
Ohio.
Midwest. Some people claim Nebraska's not Midwest, but whatever.
Wait, I thought Midwest was like Ohio.
Ohio
that,
is Midwest.
Ohio's Midwest. What about Kentucky? Is that South? Kentucky.
That's South.
That's South.
Cut it out. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay.
But yeah. So we do have for sure 4 casters for this event. Our man JDZ here. We've got Katie and Liam, and as of now, officially, I'm actually also a caster for this event. And there is the possibility of a 5th secret caster, but we don't know if that's locked in yet, so we'll find out.
Who's making all these caster plans, and no one is consulting the production. How am I the last to know any of this information? Who you got? I'm about to protest. I'm not going. You guys go figure it out.
Oh,
I'm
all
going
right.
somewhere else.
I know someone who will replace you right away.
Got a name
She might
that
be
I
right
did
underneath
not
me.
hear. Could be a secret 6th caster sitting right here on the screen, gentlemen.
All right. We'll see.
No, Sharp Gaming is going to be incredible. Good luck to you guys. It's going to be great. If you haven't, what are you doing? Sign up. We got the QR code on the screen. Okay, we're not doing anything in July. We could be playing cards. Come on.
It's gonna be a good time. Like I really like that store. Like I said, that is one of the first events I was on production for in my production journey. Like that's my goal now. I love doing the broadcasting thing, and I'm gonna continue to do the broadcasting thing, but I want to continue to kind of move into the production role and try to hone those skills. And Philly was the first person to give me the shot at doing that. It was the first tournament I ever covered, and I had a really great time there. And I feel like a home away from home when I get a chance to go down to Sharp. Just his venue is really nice. His store is cool. His staff is cool. It's always a great time out there in Sharp. So if you can make it, you should definitely make it. If you can. If you can't, you still should just make it anyway, and just make it a priority to show up.
If you can't, no excuses. Okay, get out there.
Okay, cool. But it's going to be a good time. That is July 11th and 12th. It's the same day as DLC in the Philippines. So that could be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work or how that whole thing is going to transpire together or with the Philippines and whatnot. So who knows, man? It's going to be interesting. So tune in, keep it locked. Don't touch that dial, and we're going to get it absolutely active. But still, Luke, did you get a chance to see those matches that obviously you saw them because you were bouncing around?
I was screaming. Oh my goodness, that Rascal's deck is insane. He messaged me before. He's like, I got a pretty cool brew. And because of some issues with our main match where a player was running late from work, since we didn't get to watch it because they were running late, I was like, oh, well, let's see what Rascal's cooking up. You know, I figured we'll check that out. And he did not disappoint.
No, that was incredible. I've got a new deck to watch out for. Okay, I don't want to sleeve up the same old. I'm ready to give Christmas its shot. I'm ready to see Ruby and Emerald in action. I'm investing. We didn't see Powerline, but I'm investing in Powerline Enchantments. Okay, because I want that card to be good. The movie's too good to not have that card be a staple. All right, so I'm ready.
I like it.
We do need.
I have my 4 enchanted power lines already. I'm hanging on to them.
Okay, you're ahead of me.
Yeah, I have them all. Where are they at? I think I have them right here. Actually, let me see if I can find these bad boys. I have these bad boys right over here, ready for them to pop off. Dude.
Flexing on us. Oh, it got him sleeves and everything. Okay, he's cooking.
They're enchanted, right?
But sleeves in the whole deck. There it is.
This is the only enchanted place that I have of anything. Okay,
drop the spice, man. Drop the spice.
These bad boys are ready to go X. As soon as somebody wants to get out there and cook with some Powerline, greatest rockstar ever, let me know. And I'll
gotta sit down with Rascal. Gotta sit down. Let him know.
Let's cook. Come on, let's cook. Let's get it done.
So there was a minor mistake that some might notice that Rascal did accidentally quest with his Diablo 1-drop on the turn he played it. I do believe it was the turn that he played a Lady Tremaine and singing Pirate's Life. At that point in the game, I don't think it mattered. It was just a minor thing. But for those who watched and noticed, just to let you know, we did notice it.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. He was looking too powerful at that point, so I think it was all good there. But
I mean, it makes sense. You play a Diablo, then you play a few more things, and you're like, oh, I got a quest with everything. It does happen.
Yeah, I think that was. I think he could have not quested for a couple turns and still been
Yeah,
okay there. I think he was cooking. He kind of got loose, busy, and active, just like round one. But Luke, this was an amazing time, man. Infinity Week, I think it's a super sustained. I had so much fun. I can't wait to see the rest of
Converted
this.
you.
But I do have to depart. I have to take care of some personal affairs. But thank you for allowing me to be here as always. And Willoughby's sharing this space with you is always incredible fun. I mean, I
yeah,
love this.
absolute
Maybe we can
pleasure.
do this more. We can figure something out to have more opportunities to share this time together. So
Absolutely, I
please,
agree. Thanks for kicking it with me. Enjoy
of
the
course,
family affairs, brother.
will
All
do.
right.
Thank
I'll
you so
see you
much.
later, JD.
Peace.
Chat missed out on his kung fu
I
fighting
know,
there,
I
but
didn't hear the amazingness, but all right, yeah. So no, that was very very fun to see multiple decks as well, and we kept it active, as he likes to say for the chat. They got to see a lot of matches there. How are we looking on this main feature? I'm seeing we're 1-0. Are we jumping in?
the round 2 has not started yet.
Okay, we got some time.
So I remember people saying, like, there was chitter chatter in the ICL chat about how, like, oh, Infinity is going to take forever. Everyone's going to be answering everything your opponent does. We need more time. And we finished early. But time in the round is in 5 minutes. If every player is ready to start early, um, then we will be starting, but we might have to wait a moment or two while they set up because their screens are not up yet.
Okay. Well, then I want to ask you. I mean, we talked a lot about not just playing the same stuff, but then of course, like we said, we saw the Ruby and Sapphire, and we were like, okay, but it's kind of good. I mean, you're on a team that is significant, does very very well, some might say, in this space. So is this something that, like, you're seeing your fellow pro players, and you being a pro player yourself,
We haven't
do you think
started
it's going to
yet.
be no,
We haven't
nothing?
we haven't started testing yet, but we're
I tried
going
to
to be
hype it up,
very
chat.
soon. Very soon. We were actually talking about that. We're like, well, when's our next test day? Let's do this. Are we going to play core? Are we going to play Infinity? And it's kind of a mix because it's looking like some of us, if not multiple of us, are going to try to go to Brazil.
Okay.
I was looking at details to it now. I'm like, $600
Could we make it happen?
flight.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at, but a chance at all the glory. It's interesting. I would imagine, I don't envy pro players. I think it's a really hard balance because you always want to be on the top of your game, and so you can't just neglect Infinity completely, right? Even if you are, going to core DLCs, you have to imagine that the person who does nothing with Infinity is still going to be on the back foot from someone who just picked it up from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and clearly there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to explore. If you had to go rogue tomorrow, surprise Infinity DLC, they've moved Indianapolis up. They've put you on the guest list. Okay. What are you sleeving up just out of has to be rogue? Has to be rogue.
Has to be rogue. Well, then obviously this red green discard, like, hands down.
Okay.
But I would have, if I could play anything, I mean, I would obviously be looking at blue steel, amber steel aggro, amber steel songs, and green steel. Sadly, green steel is probably not necessarily there yet. A lot of the tier lists I've seen people making have put it like in tier 2, really close, but not all the way there. But it looks fantastic. We kind of saw earlier, Max Goof mixed with Muses is degenerate. Degenerate. Like, if that wasn't, if Muses was in core, like, I think Green Steel would be a real deck right now, just based off of getting back strength every turn. And then you could play one or two spicy one of songs to do something, it's pretty powerful. Like the new Pete song, if items and other songs were rough. Like, imagine the mirror and you set up the Max Goof with the new, I call it Pete song. I can't remember what it's called. It's a 2-cost song that your opponent cannot play actions or items this turn. So if you were to loop that every turn in the mirror, you probably win, right? Like, it just seems really frustrating. So, like, that's a great example of a card that is probably going to see almost no play in core constructed. Sure. But we'll probably see quite a bit of play in Infinity. Or at least the ability to, where you have decks like Blue Steel that is like 30 items and songs. You have decks like Steel Song and Green Steel that are also like really relying on like a 20 song package to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, That's something that I mentioned earlier to JDZ is like you got to imagine Monstro combo is not going to be the only viable like combo in Disney Lorcana, and I feel like that Muse's Max Goof situation gets pretty close to being some sort of infinite loop kind of thing. But what do we got here? Looks like we're potentially jumping right into the action.
Well, yeah, and it was the perfect time. I was just starting an ad so it wouldn't happen later, and Snobby Snob just gifted 20 viewers a sub.
Let's go! Shout out to one of the amazing lore guides that we are so fortunate to have here in Disney Lorcana.
Very, very important figure in the community, I would like to think. Has done a lot for the community, judging especially. I don't know how many things he's judged, but he's judged a lot of them.
It's just some of the most impactful things as well. Like just some things that have really shaped and just been such a big advocate for the lore guide program, right? And I would say is a big credit to why we have something like that. So definitely someone that we're lucky to have in the community. And you gotta get the Snobby feature on the ICL. Gotta have them in real time.
We gotta get that judges versus caster game going.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
But the last time we talked about it,
are the lore guides.
yeah, the players are casters, and that I was told I wasn't allowed to play on the casters versus judges.
What? Why?
Because I apparently classify as a player.
Oh, you're too good. That's a compliment.
I'll take it.
You're just too saucy with it, okay? You want a DLC. That definitely eliminates you and makes you a player, I would have to say. I think that's fair. All right, so we're looking over at Luxury versus Flower Farm for round 2. You still got me in the booth. Thanks for being here. Good to be here with you, Luke. Mr. Wonderland. We've got Tea Time versus Low, and I don't believe we know those ink pairings yet, but I'm excited to see what it's going to be. Okay, because anything could happen. Starting off with an Emerald card, the wrong lever, going in to the Inkwell.
Wrong lever, Kronk.
On the other side, okay, quick predictions.
Amber
Ruby?
I'm going for the Daisy player.
Crazy. All right, so we see a Rhino hit the Inkwell, a Daisy Duck Donald's date. Okay, it is going to be Amethyst and Emerald. So we're going to have that Diablo come down. Nice little evasive character there. Not going to be able to quite take out that Daisy just yet, but it's a good start. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting some strong characters on the board slightly. Just need something to buff it up a little bit and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, for those people that did not like Diablo, you are not going to like this deck, I assume.
It's just like the 16 Diablos or something crazy. That Daisy gonna be sending that pull the lever to the bottom. Hit. Might be okay because we have one of the wrong levers in the Inkwell there, not in the discard pile. But I mean, you kind of would have liked to have that as an option.
Yeah, and I've seen a few people do some tier lists, and a lot of them put blue steel at the top, amber steel at the top, and then they actually have been putting this amethyst emerald deck towards the top as well. The discard variant apparently has been performing quite well for people in testing.
Well, speaking of discard variant, we are looking at this hand and we are seeing a lot of Prince Johns and a lot of Diablos getting rid of that. We don't talk about Bruno, going to stop that shift there. So a good shout on that Mowgli Man Club. Not what you want to see if you're low.
So this is an interesting learning lesson for low and all the viewers at home, because if you were playing against Emerald back in the day, you'd be like, oh, they might have Ursula. I need to shift this Diablo turn 1 to play around, the discard effect. But if you just see Amber, you're like, oh, they're not playing Emerald, whatever, I can keep it. And then boom, Mowgli comes down, hits your only card to shift, and you don't get an active Diablo. You're missing one draw from it. We could have had double Diablo in play right now, but we don't necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't get to see the altar phase there, so maybe Low just kind of had an unfortunate altar there and drew into it later off the top and wasn't able to shift it. But you're absolutely right. Definitely would have wanted to do that for this reason.
Well, he could have shifted it right away because he passed the turn and then they played it and he still had it in hand. So, So they could have. But it's also a rough play because what if Tea Time's second color was steel?
Yeah.
And they're just like, fire the cannons, get got. You literally 3 for 1. You don't even get a draw card. So it is a gamble. I'm definitely not saying it's the right play all the time. It's kind of a read thing that you have to be like, do they have it? Are they playing Fire the Cannons in Infinity? I was in my Blue Steel, but some people have swapped off that in Sapphire Steel.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Infinity, I thought we were playing Infinity, not Core Constructed. Looking over at Tea Time's side of the board, this is looking like an Amber and Emerald Dogs variant here. So I'm curious to see what some of the Infinity spice may be. But hey, when a list is good, it's good. Can't blame them for playing something like this. How is Low gonna respond here? Gonna be able to quest these characters? They are evasive, right? So they're feeling pretty protected.
So this is one nice thing about Infinity. If you only play core and you only have core decks, your core deck is an Infinity deck. And the power level of dogs has been pretty good. And honestly, cards like Ursula 2 and Mowgli are far better in this format than they are in core, even if they are good in core.
Yeah, absolutely. Having these Diablos here as well, if we are to see a tramp come down for Tea Time, it's going to definitely make us not want to take that play line, because then Low is going to get to draw as well without that added condition of having to discard. So, I mean, Tea Time might have to kind of change the game plan here a little bit, and seeing, like you said, how core decks are technically Infinity decks, but they don't always fit together perfectly within the meta because of some synergies, or anti-synergies, I guess, because your opponent's the one drawing the cards with you, like these Diablos. So having two is kind of a nice little checkmate here, a little bit of disruption just in the form of having that character exist and be exerted.
I don't know about you, but I think this is telling me that we should have reprinted Diablo in core. That would have kept Tramp in check. They're not going to be playing.
No ban list.
Yeah, they wouldn't be aggro tramping if you draw 7 cards. I mean, maybe they would if you couldn't do anything, but
yeah, definitely an interesting take for sure. Crazy to see her Rapunzel going into the Inkwell. Makes sense in this case, but she's just such a great card. It breaks my heart to see that gifted with healing there. All right, so now we have a big board for Tea Time here. It looks like we quested this Lilo Escape Artist, but we didn't quest anything else. You have to imagine Low wouldn't necessarily want to challenge with this Diablos. So what do you think, as our pro expert here, why do you think it was that we didn't quest there?
Well, I definitely would have challenged both Diablos into a Daisy at this point, I think. And since we just kind of like developed a bunch more characters into play, I think Tea Time was just taking one turn to be like, well, I could get 2 lore, but then he easily answers it. But if I wait a turn, I get a quest with all of these. And then, like, he can't answer. Like, since we're using 2 Diablos for 1 Daisy, there's that. And you could argue that you didn't even need to quest with the Lilo, but this is also fine. It does stack of damage on the Diablo. So if that Diablo goes after Daisy next turn, it's trading. We can still get the Lilo back the turn we're turning everything sideways.
Yeah, absolutely. Bringing that Lilo back makes sense for that to be the one thing, if we were going to quest, to be the one that does. And we did elect to bring that Escape Artist right back into play. Obviously going to come in exerted. But that tells me that we're not necessarily loving our hand in terms of like something that we absolutely have to play to have that ink available. Here we go. There's some Infinity cards. So seeing this Piglet.
Imagine if Diablo was not a May ability and was forced. So like Tea Time's just like, tramp, you draw 20, tramp, draw 20, tramp, your turn. Like, that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. Hope you can win on the turn you're given.
Against the right opponent, it's still pretty good. Sometimes people just can't help themselves, and then they realize too late that they're gonna draw all of their cards.
I've done that for sure.
Yeah. We've decked out some Ruby and Sapphire players, right? Come on.
Yes. Oh, whole new world, baby. Let's go.
All right. So it looks like we did finally take this turn to go on a little quest. Not as crazy as I thought it was going to be. You know, the board is so wide, but the quests were only up to, I believe, 4 lore. On the other side, we're looking. I can't tell if we're frozen or not. Maybe Low is frozen.
They're adding stuff.
Okay,
up.
no, they were just super still. They were just rock solid. Okay, there we go. We're up to 11. So pretty sizable amount of lore. How does Low get out of this is going to be the question.
It depends on the type of removal we have or what we could have to kind of answer that.
Yeah, and I think it really depends, but I feel like yes,
Under the Sea would be pretty good.
Yeah. You know, I was gonna say we have a lot of like bounce, we don't have a lot of removal, and then you said Under the Sea, and I was like, well, you're right. That is completely viable, and we do have some singers here. But you gotta imagine that'd be something we'd kind of like instantly play. So we might not have it. We're definitely showing game on board for tea time. That Piglet being ready instead of exerted also makes it tough. These Daisy Ducks have a lot of willpower and a lot of strength is not something that Low has on his side of the board. So this is dicey, but we haven't inked. Okay, so there's still some things that we can do here. Looks like we're getting ready to start. The Ursula doesn't feel like it's it, right? I mean, we get to take a look at the hand so we know what to expect, but I would... Yeah. Okay. The Peter Pan gonna have some rush there, gonna help take some control back over this board. Don't know if it's gonna be quite enough though. So, let's see what he chooses to go into.
So Piglet is 3 guaranteed, right? Most likely. Yep. So that's gonna put us up to 14. So we just need 6 more lore. But we actually can challenge down a bit here. We would lose our Diablos, but we could take out both Daisies and a Lilo, but we would lose most of our characters on the crackback, I feel. So I'm kind of interested to see where the challenges go here, because we do have a little bit of lore to spare.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we're probably gonna have to give up at least one of these Diablos. So starting off, what did he just challenge into there? It was the Mowgli?
Yeah, Mowgli and the Bobby.
The question is not to take these 2 questers, at least to start.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe this Prince John was gonna get in there brawling, and that's what I was thinking would be challenged back, but we went a little bit more of a conservative route, possibly. This is actually kind of scary. This is putting tea time all the way to 19.
This is... Low must be confident that they have an answer that we just haven't seen yet, because like you said, there's definitely some room to have gotten more characters off the board there, at least more lore, if not more character totals. So interested to see what he thinks he can make happen. But pass it back to tea time here. Gonna play this Lady Elegant Spaniel and another Daisy.
I really want tea time. I want tea time to just be like, whatever, I don't care. I'm gonna play the tramp. And then I want Lo to just sing that Under the Sea. I want to see it happen so badly.
You got to imagine that's why tea time isn't, right? Like, you have to be thinking like, okay, if I get Under the Sea, they actually probably just win this game. So you got to be careful. Tramp would be great, but not when that's the price of it. We get to take a crab. That's going to help us do some challenging. Up to 19. Feels too close.
This is rough.
Feels too close, Wonderland. I don't think we can do it.
I mean, this is kind of scurry for Low here.
Is that 3? No, it's 2 unexerted characters. Okay, the other one's in the discard. And 2. So at 19, 2 unexerted characters. That feels scary to me.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Yes. That is it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe right. Low was saving their board a little bit because they wanted those singers available if they did happen to top deck that Under the Sea. Sometimes you do got to play to your outs, even if it means putting your opponent up to 19, because 19 isn't 20. That Under the Sea would have made a difference there. Wasn't able to find it, so they tried their best.
To be fair, I highly doubt I'm registering an Infinity deck with Under the Sea in it. Unless, maybe if all these hyper aggro decks, they're the truth. If they are the truth, then I could see it. But when it hits literally just Flaversham in the Flaversham decks, I don't think I want it.
You don't think, because I think a lot of people think Amber Steel kind of just gets under like Ruby Sapphire and Sapphire Steel, at least one of them, right? Like, you don't think, especially with a deck like Amethyst and Emerald, there's room. I feel like that's a more toolbox kind of, or there's room for that to be a little bit more of a toolbox kind of deck. Sometimes, I don't know, some of these Illumineers, I can see it as a 1 or a 2. I definitely don't think like a 4.
You can always discard it to your Diablo shift. So it's not an absolutely bad draw. It kind of just depends on what we're doing. I mean, we could be on some crazy MMS, Prince Philip shenanigans somehow.
That's true. And you know what? Because Amethyst and Emerald likes to play evasives, I actually think MMS could be a more likely line there, that malicious, mean, and scary with that, because that shifted Prince Philip is going to be evasive, right? So it's just going to add to some of that fuel there. I don't know. It's interesting to see. I think that this Amethyst and Emerald deck probably has way more legs in it than we got to see there. And I'd like to see Low get off to a little bit of a better start. Maybe, like you said, learn some lessons there in the beginning, like not keeping any actions or songs in your hand against something like a potential Ursula or Mowgli or even Timon now, right? On the other side of the board.
Oh yeah, there's so many discard effects that could be happening, but yeah, I think after chatting with you, it's hard to say if I want to play Under the Sea, MMS. Both of those don't do much against Blue Steel, but you can ink the MMS. And, singing it with Diablo is kind of cool. Like, even if you're not playing the full package, letting you weaken Nalas, make it that all of your 1Xs, which might just be Prince John, are able to take something down. Or, sing it with Diablo so your 2-drop Diablo can take out a Daisy. There is some merit to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it can't be ignored, right? We do have to remember ICL does have some deck restrictions there, and sometimes that's for the better because we know that we're going to be going into a little bit of a different field. So it might be possible to see a little bit more aggro variance here than you would at just a typical Infinity DLC, right? We know that some of our opponents might be forced into some different strategies. We're not everybody that we go up against is going to be playing that Sapphire Steel, for example, that's only going to have the one target for it. So there's some room. And you got to just imagine, what is Low's deck trying to do? And like we said, we mentioned some things that I think Amethyst and Emerald does really well, and so it's just, which side is he on? Is he on that like more evasive heavy, or something like a control build? We do see Pull the Lever going into the Inkwell. Heartbreak, because that card is great for this deck. On the other side, we do see this Rhino go into the Inkwell and a Daisy. That's a repeat of that turn 1. So T-Time's looking good here, considering the amount of actions Low potentially has in their deck.
Oh yeah, plenty of targets for these Mowglis and Ursulas. I wonder if we're on the max 8, if that's what you're saying. Sorry, I got kid aggroed for half a second.
Oh no, you're good. I'm always happy to step in. Yeah, I don't know. You would imagine, like you said, there's more targets for it in Infinity. I think you would max out on the 8 Ursula and Mowgli. Yeah, I honestly don't think there's Timon in there, but it is fun to bring it up because I just like that. I just like to say it because it's an option.
I was so hyped on that card, and I don't know if it's just too expensive or there's just not enough targets in core to use it. It's definitely too slow for Infinity, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, Infinity, it's just not quite there. I know there's somebody out there who would, but looking though, T-Time did go ahead and use that Bobby Zimmerowski Spray Cheese Kid to discard that Lilo Escape Artist. That's where she loves to be, right? And then we're going to go ahead and get this lady Decisive Dog down. So our board is already looking wide to Low's Lonely Diablo there. Yeah, there's so many Diablos in this deck. Where are the rest of them?
I know this is the second game in a row that we had the turn 2 Diablo, not the turn 1, not the shift action. And at least we could shift this one if we have it, but we have to have it.
We might not here. Really depends. Gonna go ahead. Ink Friends on the other side definitely hurts. Okay. Getting the Prince John down and singing that Sudden Chill. So we're at least gonna get some card draw here, and we're gonna put some hand pressure on T-Time. But getting to discard the Lilo Escape Artist might be best case scenario.
What would have been awesome is if Low had drawn the Shift Diablo off of that Sudden Chill trigger. Like, one of the most powerful things you can be doing is like shifting and then singing to draw 2 cards.
And here's the Mowgli. Is it too little too late though? It is. So we see Hades, Ursula, Chip, and Diablo. So we did not elect to shift that Diablo. We chose to sing instead. Do you think that was a good call there for Low?
To not shift? It depends on if we had another action to discard. It's possible that the reason Low tanked so long was that he only had the Sudden Chill and the
friends
on the other side, and so that would kind of make sense. Is obviously unfortunate that that's what we drew, because I think if I had the friends, the Sudden Chill, and the Diablo, I would have discarded the Sudden Chill to the Diablo, shifted the Diablo and drawn 2 more cards and then tried to play a character that could maybe brawl a little bit with the board that Tea Time's creating, where like Prince John is a very powerful card to have, but it does not do as much in this matchup as it would against those Blue Steel and Ruby Sapphire players.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see this iconic Hades go into the Inkwell. We're going to play a chip. So we're continuing to put pressure on that hand. And would you believe it? A third Lilo Escape Artist is hitting the discard pile. That is disgusting. Okay, that is crazy.
Do we have the fourth one? The fourth one? Oh, lost your camera.
I'm still here. I just saw that it was frozen, so I was trying to fix it, and it didn't work. I'm sorry, chat. Let me see if I can refresh it.
Let me refresh. Refresh cache of current page. Oh, there we go.
Let's go. We're back. Okay, I'm sorry. We're here. We're watching the game. Looks like we have a sudden chill being sung, continuing to do that hand pressure. We get a tramp, which is good. But we might not have wanted to play it. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe because we don't want to have cards in hand anyways. Tramp was still pretty great here.
I do think I would have shifted that turn there because we did have the sudden chill. We still have the Diablo from the last turn. I think I would have shifted and quested or challenged it. I don't think there was a character to challenge, so I probably would have just shifted it. We still draw another card. Granted, we're not making them discard a card, but it is giving us a character to continue to draw cards over and over. It still can put 2 damage on a character. And the only character is Lady that we really get punished by, but we still have the chip to take that down. Because on the Daisy, a 2 and 3, basically the same thing. As long as we're not also combining with our Prince John on the beatdown. It is an interesting play.
Yeah, it does seem like so Tea Time was able to put put a Lilo Escape Artist into play from the discard pile. Now we're going on a quest. Only had 2 ink, now up to 3. Might not even matter though, because we have so many Lilos in the discard, and Lo is only going to be able, as this board continues to get wider, to take out so many things at once. Like you said, with these lower willpower characters.
We saw. I didn't even know it was the tramp that got discarded. So
yes.
Like there's a world that we kept that tramp and then we played it there. And because we didn't shift to Diablo, you know, like that's the thing is once Diablo shifted, tramp is most likely never being played unless they're winning the next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Some interesting decisions. Definitely going to want to watch this one back. It's crazy to see just like how one little thing could change the game. So now we are not shifting. We're just playing the Diablo. So like you said, might have missed that window and might be regretting it a little bit. We get this Ursula down.
Someone smarter than me in chat is saying that Prince John also shuts off the tramp. So we didn't actually need the Diablo. You know, apparently Prince John draws cards when your opponent discards cards. Did you know that? I did not know that.
That's true. We're so focused on the draw, but what about the discard? See,
I just want Diablo in play.
Listen, folks. Okay, Infinity. It's been a while. Okay, we're oiling up the gears here. I cannot believe there was 3 Lilo Escape Artists in this discard. Now 2 of them are back on the board. We are going on some quests here for 3, and Lowe's board is slowly getting wider to match, but I just don't think it's enough. These characters aren't very strong, or even the ones that are, like this chip here. Okay, well, there you go. Now it has a target to challenge it to that's going to stick around, but I was going to say it's very fragile with only 2 willpower, but it's okay. It can get that lady at least.
For a second, I was like, how'd that evasive get challenged? But it was not an evasive. That was a chip from Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Probably top 3 favorite Disney IPs. I watched that show so much as a child. I had the VHS. Yep, I'll age myself. I had the VHS. That back in the day, you'd buy a VHS and it came with like 3 episodes of a cartoon. You had to buy like 10 VHSs for 1 season. Now
how would you feel if I hit you with the what's a VHS? I would just be kidding, though. I would just be kidding. I would just be kidding. I had to stress you out. We see this Cricky come down. It's going to give +3 strength to everything on the board. Starting with that Diablo, going to challenge in to that lady. Then we're going to have this Ursula take out an Escape Artist. Next up, a Diablo. Gonna challenge into the other Lilo. Okay, we're doing some cleanup here. Are we gonna exert this Prince John?
I think we have to.
So we're gonna do it. I was worried that Low was not gonna want to exert that Prince John, but like you said, I think we had to. So some pretty good cleanup there. Cricky coming in, making things interesting.
Dude, Cricky triggers me. It knocked me out of Continentals content. It knocked me out from qualifying for Continentals before I qualified once. I mean, realistically, if anyone's ever had a Cricky played on them, you know what it feels. All of a sudden, your board's gone. You're like, oh, what are you going to do? Challenge with your 1-3s? What is that? What is that? What are those?
What are those? Indeed. Yeah, no, very powerful card. And nice lore as well. So Tea Time has a lot of lore, but if we can potentially start to clean up a little bit more here, Low has a lot of characters now on the board. That Cricky adding some lore as well. Maybe we can start to catch up, but I do think we're going to need some perfect sequencing here to make it happen, because look at this. We are going on a quest and we are going all the way up to.
It's also worth noting, Tea Time is gathering more ink. Eventually, we're going to get at the point where they can just put 3 Lilos into play every turn. Ooh. And a lot of Low's characters cannot continue to challenge. Like, 2 of them will already be banished if they challenge into 1 damage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to get dicey here. We're going to have to find some more creative solutions. Right now, we're seeing a lot of Emerald. Maybe some of those Amethyst or half and half, those dual ink Amethyst and Emerald cards can be the things that are going to be the difference makers. So let's see what we're going to do here. Put in another Cricky into play. Get it all off the board and go on a quest. I love it. Well, this actually isn't too bad, right? Because something like this Ursula it does have 3 willpower, so that's going to be able to stick around, right? Prince John has not taken any damage yet, so that's going to stick around. But it might get a little dicey here. So we start by taking out, that Lilo Escape Artist. Then we use that Ursula.
That Ursula should still be in play.
Yeah, Mowgli only has 1. Maybe we can let them know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Ursula should still be in play. It only had 1 damage on it.
Yeah, I should have 2. Okay, we got it. Look at this. Keeping it honest. You love to see it. And now that Cricky's going to quest freely, and Tea Time has no characters on the board. Is this the comeback we were looking for?
Looks like it's going to be close. Like, we get back 3 Lilos. We could send 2 Crickies into the Lilos to answer 2 of them. They can't play anything else. We could quest for 4, put us at 8, maybe develop a character or 2 more, and then and we only have the ink to get back 2 Lilos. So yeah, we can just use our Crickies, gain some lore, and then the next turn maybe trade away an Ursula or something. Well, maybe a Diablo, and then quest with the Crickies and have a 2-turn clock.
Something to notice is Tea Time kept this card in hand, didn't even ink it. Okay, so we're not even trying to get up to that 6 ink to have all 3 escape artists continue to come back. You're absolutely right. We can challenge in with those Crickies and keep the rest of our board around, but it's stalling a lot of lore from Low's side of the board. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So let's see. He starts with the Genie.
Do you play around Go-Go, I guess, is the question. If you don't respect Go-Go, you can easily quest to 14 and say, do you have it? Go up to 19, I don't care. But if you're afraid of Go-Go, and with the amount of lore we have in play, I think I'm at least challenging 1. So we'd go to 8 if we double challenge Crickies. And then the next turn, we'd have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We would have enough lore. But Low is just saying, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah, valuing that lore on their side there, not challenging him with those Crickies, getting rid of the Diablo. To answer that question in chat, yes, the Diablo did draw, so that's good. All right, let's see here. Now there's no Diablo to get that draw.
We're going to game 3.
We're going to game 3. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I totally forgot about that Go-Go Tamago there that you mentioned. That could have been a really interesting potential game closer, but just wasn't enough. Honestly, going into game 3, and I'm not putting Low down. I think they're navigating it expertly, but it's just looking like a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, it does look a little rough, but these Diablo discard style decks tend to be a blowout one way or the other. You're either going underneath their control or you get caught up in the discard engine and you just don't have anything you can do. They grind you to a halt, and then they start questing with a couple of their higher questers and the card advantage they get from Diablos and such like that. And then, we have these cards like Pull the Lever against these more grindy matchups to be able to draw more cards and stay in it. Or, sometimes make your opponent discard a card, and you might have a couple of Prince Johns in play, so you get to do both.
Yeah, I think that Low just hasn't seen this like really, really strong, perfect opener that sometimes these decks can have access to. Particularly in this deck, we see the Pull the Lever here. We want to see something like that turn 1 Diablo, discard Pull the Lever, and shift in to the other Diablo, so that way we can be set up for our wrong lever when it comes. We haven't even seen anything like that, right? So it's not... Low's not having the best start. Maybe the deck could really start to get going, but I think the one thing that Tea Time's deck kind of has on its side is that hyper consistency. It's going to do the thing that it wants to do pretty much every single time. And like we see, even when they don't get the optimum start, it's still pretty good what their backup plans are.
And this is going to be interesting. So these Diablo decks are crazy, especially this version, because this version is he does not have Diablo 3 in his hand. He's Moline 7. Normally, you have to keep, like in Green Steel, you'd have to keep the 1-drop Diablo. But now you don't need to. You're playing 8 1-drop Diablos. You're playing 4 2-drop Diablos, and then 4 shifts. So we're going all out, trying to hit that shift, and hoping that we hit the Song and one of the 1-cost Diablos, if able. But if we're able to play that, as you said, 1-drop Diablo, shift right away, play around the Ursula, play around the Mowgli. We've seen Tea Times playing both of them. Then maybe we could get there. We don't have to play around it and shift if we have double Song, unless maybe one of them's uninkable and one's inkable. But at that point, we probably ink the inkable Song, play the Diablo, shift, discard the uninkable. And then if there is discard on Tea Times, it's just completely whiffs. And it's a crazy aspect to look at. I was just chatting in the 20th Lore Discord the other day because someone was they're trying to find someone to do some coaching. And I basically said, whoever you find to do coaching, you need to make sure that they teach you how to mulligan, because altering is like win or break. You'll win or lose before the game even starts if you don't do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best tools that we have available to us in this game, and being able to see a brand new 7 cards deeper into your deck, if you want to think about it that way, can really make a huge difference. But do we see the 1-drop here? Well, you have to imagine we did.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so that alter potentially saved us there. You said we needed Diablo, and at the very least, we got a turn 1. Okay, which we have not had the other 2 games.
This is also a funny thing is if Tea Time had no idea about Shift Diablo, there's a world that, he quests and we just shift challenge. But that's definitely most likely not happening. Oh, there's a go-go. So we at least know to play around it to an extent.
It is in the deck. Grandmother Willow, Ancient Advisor comes down. Then we have the Tramp. I think it's Enterprising Dog. I'm working on the names. And then giving the strength to that lady. Decisive Dog? I think I'm getting it right, chat. Allowing us to quest up to 3. This is the opener we know and sometimes love for our Emerald and Amber player. What can Low do here to respond?
So what would be hilarious is Tramp 2, Pump Diablo, Shift Diablo, Challenge Takedown Lady, because they would never see it.
It's true.
Okay, no, not like this, Low. You're supposed to hit it. You drew 14 cards. Where is it?
Yeah, no, it's not there. It is nice to see the wrong lever, right? Very pretty card. Nice enchanted there going into the inkwell, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So Tea Time's feeling pretty good here then, right?
All right, let's see. Population size 4. Or population size 60, successes 4, sample size 14. We can say 15 because we do draw a card for that first turn. Actually 16 because we're drawing 2 cards. Number of successes in sample 1, and calculate. So we had, I think, and if I'm reading it right, it's 72%.
72%.
Or no, 86%. 86% chance to hit.
86%. So potentially just got unlucky there and continuing to get even more unlucky, okay? Or at the very least unfortunate, because Tea Time is doing all the things that Tea Time wants to do. Get that tramp down. We put a Lilo escape artist into the discard pile. I mean, we're looking pretty good.
It looks like Dogs is not bad in Infinity if they don't have a Prince John or Diablo in play.
I mean, you heard it here first, folks. As if you haven't seen enough Dogs, they're still good in Infinity. Tough for low. Gonna have to see, or rough, maybe some might say. That is a pun about Dogs. So
all dogs go to Infinity.
Absolutely. So what can low do here? We have to put another action that pull the lever into the Inkwell. Gonna go ahead and sing this sudden chill. So we're putting some hand pressure down, which is actually significant here because Tea Time did just get to craft their hand with that tramp, right? So getting rid of that Lady Miss Park Avenue, I think is nice. Stops us from getting something like that Piglet and that Lilo back into our hand, or even something later down the line.
Yeah. Oh, this is scary for low here. We have an insane amount of pressure. Unless we see, I kind of want to look at the deck list right now. I kind of want to look to see if there's an Under the Sea. Oh no, there is Under the Sea, just the wrong side.
It's the wrong side of the board. Indeed, with only 3 ink in play, going up to 4 ink. What can low do to claw this back? We are going all the way up to some amount of lore. I don't know, maybe the 5 is accurate, but it's a lot of lore regardless on the next turn.
Yeah, it does look like Under the Sea is not an out now since we have no singers.
Yeah. Ooh, that is gonna be tough for low, but we've got some Team Luxury members in the chat saying let's go, because for Luxury, that is exactly what you want to see. Low, taking a minute to think about this here. I mean, how much lore is in play? So we got 14, 15 lore. I stopped counting in my head.
6, 7, 8 lore, and then if we somehow pump up both ladies, we go up to 12 lore.
Okay, go up to 12. So I was a little off. Thought we go up to 12.
To it looks 14. Like 18 to me too. just saying, it feels like 18.
Over, Chad. What do we do? Yeah, like this genie gets you to draw a card, but it's such an expensive play. Like at this point, you might even want to just be playing down a bunch of those like those Diablos that we saw, even though they don't hit for anything. If we get a Cricky in play, could be massive. Speaking of massive, another tramp, street smart dog coming down. Even if all of these cards just go straight into the discard pile, which I think they just might, it doesn't. It's still good. It's still good.
Yeah, I mean, massive play for sure. Tramp is more like a massive here instead. I reached a little bit with that, but I was just like,
I liked it. I appreciated it. Okay, we got to make more puns work. Yeah, look at the lore totals shooting all the way up to 13 with nothing but a lonely genie wish fulfilled. You got to imagine that this ends here.
Yeah, it does kind of look, as chat says, it looks like Scoop City.
It looks like Scoop.
I need to get
Scoop City.
I need to like message Weird Al Yankovic and be like, can you remake Spatula City but change it to Scoop City?
Change it to Scoop City, please.
Please.
Listen, parody songs in Disney Lorcana are an under-tapped market. I almost made one myself, but then decided I could not bear the embarrassment. But I need somebody with more guts than me to go ahead and make a parody song.
You just need like 2 or 3 people to sing with you. So then it was their voice that was cracking mid-song. But no, singing's terrifying.
Someone in the chat saying this wish isn't fulfilled, unfortunately. That's a good one. See, that's what we need. Those are the puns that we need. The genie's still in the lamp. Oh no, come on, it's so good. It's so good.
Somebody rub that lamp. We need a wish right now. A miracle.
I could use 3. I could use all 3 right about now.
It's one of the secret rules that Genie has is like he can't make people fall in love with you. He can't murder people. He can't win you games of Lorcana. These are the simple rules.
Yeah, that's going to be it. The Cricky's nice to see, but it's just not going to do enough, unfortunately. We're doing the math just in case. But
And
that's
that's
no, that's
still
definitely more
game.
than enough. So low, hard fought, nice to see Amethyst and Emerald making it's a try here, putting his hat into the ring. You definitely don't want to root for dogs, right? I love the people on Luxury. They are great friends of mine. I genuinely do think they're great people over there. But it's hard to root for dogs, so it is unfortunate that Low wasn't able to close it out. Right, something we've seen so much of. Just like you said, maybe dogs is still good in Infinity, folks.
Yeah, it does look like it is doing some work. I'm gonna jump us over to another match here. I got to see who's
All
still
right.
playing.
Taking a look at who else is still playing, but in the chat, let us know. Are we sleeping up dogs in Infinity? That should not be allowed. I'm seeing some things like Chernobog. There's no way. Come on. It's too gross. It's too gross. They're too good. Okay, we want to see some other things be strong as well. It would be really funny too if like a lot of people are calling for a Tramp ban in core. If Tramp Street Smart Dog does get banned, so then people just start playing him in Infinity. That would be hilarious. They're like, fine, I'll play the dog's deck here.
It does make sense. I mean, and that is one of the joys about formats like Infinity. If we
Absolutely.
do sometimes get a card that is a little bit too powerful, we're able to then still play it. You're not going to be severely punished for having one of your cards banned because there's still formats you can play it in. It might not be the format you wanted to play it in, but you do have that option to still play some games with it. And even if you want to sell it, at least then it might still maintain some of its value. And that's kind of important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, someone color in the chat saying it's not that dogs is too good, it's that Emerald and Amethyst isn't good enough. That's heartbreaking. Okay, if an ink pairing like Amethyst and Emerald isn't good enough in Infinity, when they have every card available to them, is it ever good enough at all? Right, like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard to say. Like, Infinity does have way more powerful stuff. I mean, you can't say that Ruby Steel is going to be playable in Infinity because it's not playable anywhere else.
Right.
But maybe one day it might be. It's interesting, right? Because some could say, well, it's going to see play in Core before it sees play in Constructed.
Sure.
Or in Infinity. But then, like, there's more crazy things in Infinity that together, after a bunch of them combined, that might be what is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. It's just listen, okay, I know we're so dedicated to core, but I'm going to say it, okay, Illumineers at home, you need to stop being lazy. There's time for both. Let's get cooking. So when we get to Infinity days like this, we're seeing decks like that Ruby and Emerald. Rascal, player of the day, okay, MVP of the stream.
I definitely think we're about there, and we're gonna jump in and we're gonna watch some fan favorites here with
let's go.
Chris Anderson, C Chan Ran. I don't chat with him enough. Obviously, I can't say his nickname very well. I'm sure I'll get roasted for that one. We got Theo here over with the Mad Hatters.
Yeah. Looking at a Sapphire Steel mirror. Now, I mentioned the Loungers earlier because I said this is a team that like very publicly is focused on Infinity, or at least some of their members, right? Braden is very vocal about how he really enjoys the format. So it's something where people who are testing the format still on Sapphire Steel, maybe it is just that good, right? Maybe there is no secret goo to unlock. It is just play Sapphire Steel until they make some bans.
I do think it is where you should be starting.
For sure.
Almost guaranteed. And then, you throw your fun decks against it. And if they stick, you play it. and that's like a great way to look at it. And it's just like, oh, my cool fun deck I built is crushing the theoretically best deck in the format. I'm going to play this, let's sleeve it up and go. But if you start out with Blue Steel and everyone you play against you win, well, you're probably just going to only play Blue Steel.
Yeah, absolutely. So trying to keep up with this board state here, I would say somebody said it was cranberry. We're finding out which game that we're in, but it looks like Cranberry looks to be ahead. I mean, we've got 8 lore, we've got 4 items on board. One of them is the Lucky Diamond, and I think that's a scoop.
Oh, well, I think the lore count was so low, but I guess he was gonna win in the next turn. Yeah, right back to the booth we go.
Was that game 3?
Yeah, that was game 3.
Okay, but it's good. It's still good to see a sneak peek of like what's out there, what people are playing. And Sapphire Steel is still a real threat, right? Like you're saying, like we need to throw our fun decks at it as a place to start. And ICL, when we're playing, like these are the best of the best, right? These are the guys that are going out there to all the DLCs. They're doing really, really well. You want to start with what works, and so yeah, you're going to see Sapphire Steel mirrors, which is good because that helps us at home learn a little bit about that matchup and then try to break it. I know you said you're not doing any breaking of the format just yet.
Not yet.
But I know Colors Laws in chat. I know she's got a nice little spicy ruby steel brew that I've been catching here and there on stream.
Masters of Disaster.
Yeah, with JDZ on Masters of Disaster. So there's Illumineers out there that are willing to say, hey, I don't want to play with the meta staples. I want to try something new. And I think the Infinity DLC could definitely surprise some people for sure.
All right. Well, I jumped us to another game, and then it ended before I could even swap us over. And now, as I'm trying to set this one up, hopefully it lasts long enough for me to fix the screen.
No worries. I'm just gonna keep talking, keeping the people entertained. Let me know, chat. What do you think? I'm throwing a lot of opinions out there. Oh wow, look at this.
Yeah, I'm just giving us something to watch while you chit chat at least.
No, I love it. This is great. Okay, this is what Luke is doing here is dedication to the people, dedication to the craft. Okay, who cares about the aspect ratio? What matters is we're watching more Lorcana. Never a dull moment. Here in the ICL, we've got Ruby Sapphire versus Emerald. You got to imagine it's Emerald Steel, right? We see a Max Goof there.
That was 8 Troves in a trench coat playing against Ruby Sapphire.
And it looks like, for a second I thought we were scooping again because I think we picked up I thought we picked up multiple cards, and I was like, no, please. Okay, so let's see. We've got Maui on the board. We've got Sapphire Coil. It is. It's Emerald Steel. So I wonder, because you said, this Prince John is going to be a bit more powerful against these Sapphire strategies, right? That's why it's there. I wonder how many cards our Sapphire Ruby player has in hand, because it doesn't look like a lot, actually. It looks like we're kind of playing off the top there. So maybe our Emerald Steel player is doing a good job of controlling, but of course, as I say that, we draw into the Popsicle, we get to quest the Hiram, we get to refill our hand just like that. But we are out of ink. So I would imagine, oh my goodness, look at this. This deck is gross. Oh my gosh, it's fungus. I didn't even realize it was fungus. Fungus on
world-class cards versus additional ink for this round here.
Nice. Very, very cool. So shout out Solo Falcon. Shout out no longer most recent. I was going to say most recent NA DLC winner. Fungus here, technically Zan is also NA, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
The DLC in NA.
One of the I think it was Spessy, one of the casters, said that Zan was the first qualified on accident in 2 DLCs, when actually Frank Carson is the first. But Zan is the first from NA to do it, and Frank Carson is from EU. So technically, kind of still a true statement.
Yeah, I've made the joke quite a few times that I tried not to root for anyone who's already won a DLC. Because I want to be the person with the most DLC wins, but we have greats like Frank Karsten and Zan out here just winning events left and right.
Winning them all. Taking them all, leaving none for the rest of us. Okay, DKP with 5 golden Mickeys. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
So many Mickeys.
just give them a seat at Worlds this year. Okay, and then
I do agree. I think DKP should have been invited to Worlds. I think the world champion should always be invited the next year to defend their title.
I
had that. I also think that if you played in Worlds, you should be automatically qualified for your championship in your region, so NA or that. And I tried not to speak about it too much before I was qualified. I didn't want it to be like, oh, you just want the free qualification.
Sure.
But now that I'm qualified, I'm getting on my soapbox and saying, if you played in Worlds, you should at least be qualified for the next year's Continentals. Obviously, they can't do that now. It's far too long. The spots are in there, but I'm hoping for next year in season 3, I'm hoping we get that world champion rematch. I mean, how cool would it be? They didn't act like whoever wins, they don't invite them necessarily. And then after the next person wins, they're like, oh, surprise, you have to play last year's world champion now. Like,
so many people, or not so many people, but like the person
2 people
who would have to do that would be so upset. Imagine you go through the grind. Oh man, no, I think you should say it, because I think the thing is, like, realistically, it affects such a small number of players in terms of like the actual players that it affects, right? So you might not, if we don't speak about it as a community, they're not going to feel inclined to change it, because they're going to be like, oh, only like 20 people are going to complain about this. But that's not true. It affects us as the viewers too. We want to see DKP back there, right? That's our champion. We want to see him defend his title. So I think you're making a great point, and I think we should start supporting this. Okay. I think this needs to happen. I do think DKP deserves to be back at Worlds. But I mean, you have to imagine he'll make it.
Yeah, I have faith that he'll be doing well. And by the time Continentals happens, the format will shift, so maybe he's not stuck playing Blurple anymore. So
yeah. Absolutely. So 2 Illumineers that, well, one of them is going to Worlds. On our screen, we've got Fungus doing, it looks like, potentially winning the game here.
Controlling things, doing pretty good.
He's looking pretty good. Solo Falcon not giving it up though. Okay, we're taking out a Maui with the Let the Storm Rage on. You love to see it. Got to draw a card in the process as well. Beast Tragic Hero, that could help get us back in this game for sure. This is a new card, I think. I might.
That's the song that I said was the Pete song.
Okay.
That they cannot play action stuff. I can't. All right, chat, help us out so I can put it
help
on
us
screen.
out.
I need
Can't see it. Where it's foil. That's my excuse. That's the excuse I'm going with, even though I should just know what it looks like based on the picture.
Keep the ancient ways.
Keep the ancient ways. Yes, of course. And here's where I say I totally knew that. No, I did. Now that you said it, I actually did know that. Yeah. So that's gonna make it so that no actions or items, correct?
Yes.
Can be played?
Oh, I thought
pretty nice.
Oh, I
pretty
nice.
Nice.
On the wrong one.
Keeping Fungus restricted a little bit here, but when he just gets to play down something like a Sisu anyways, and clear that board, it's just not feeling like enough.
This is a deck I could deal with never playing against. Everyone has that deck. Sisu, like. And this is why this exact matchup is what I don't like about having to play it. But I did play it into it. Emerald Steel does have a chance. If you get a very good opening, you're able to get that Diablo active and then kind of answer every character they play. It feels rough, but if you can do that, maybe discard their hand down so they can't get to that Sisu turn, right?
Yeah, and like you said, I think both of these decks are very powerful, and so there are fans of both of them that when we do kind of shift over to Infinity Mindset, there's going to be a lot of players wanting to play both, so they might just end up affecting the meta on things like that alone, right? Like Emerald Steel can end up being a meta contender, even if Sapphire Steel and Sapphire Ruby are the other 2 decks in that sort of rock, paper, scissors, because it's just that good, and probably better into Sapphire Steel. So that might be our rock, paper, scissors, at least if we were to like I said, have the DLC tomorrow. It might be those are the big 3.
Are the lore tracks swapped?
Listen, we're just giving you all something to watch, okay?
Yeah, I think they were. Maybe that, and the game's over. So we're going back to the booth.
We don't necessarily know what's going on, but we're bringing you guys the fun. We're bringing you the action and giving you something to watch while chatting with you all the same, okay? We did our main feature match, and that's what matters. Everything else is just a bonus. We got to be grateful for those.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be just hanging out in the booth while we finish up the last bit. I think most of the matches are about done. 1, 2.
Okay,
3, 4.
so there you go. You get even more of us chat for just a little bit longer. We do have, I believe it's going to be our most recent CCQ winner, Sky, as well as everyone's favorite resident DLC caster, Katie of the Lore Keepers, in coming in for game 3.
You're like, everyone's favorite, Katie.
Sorry. Sometimes I run out of breath.
That does happen.
But yeah, no, so we do have some great games. I'm so stoked to stick around and watch Skycast. I think it's going to be super fun. Obviously, a very knowledgeable player. How do you not just sit and chat and like just be like, wait, talk about your CCQ tech?
Well, I mean, you'll get to ask him here in a second. Just popping people.
Yeah,
in
whenever they get here, well, it'll be great to see them. But yeah, so we'll get to hang out for a bit, and then you guys will say goodbye to me for the night. I've been hanging around for a while. Okay, it's time for me to go. But I've had a blast. It's been great. We get to talk to them, and that's gonna be really fun. I think it's great when we have people like you and now Sky. I'm learning who are great players, but also do some casting. And speaking of everybody's favorite, she's here. Katie of the Lore Keepers in, as well as our most recent CCQ winner, Sky. Hello. Welcome to the booth with us.
Oh, you're both still muted.
I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hello.
I'm actually the third most popular Katie in Lurkana. So I'm the third favorite Katie. If you search Katie Lurkana, scroll past 2 Katies, I'm number 3.
So, that's crazy. I think that's just for you. Like, I think your search history is based on your own Google, and you have looked at all the other Katies so much, they think you want to see them before you.
Well,
I don't know the other Katie, so I'm comfortable saying you're my number 1.
Yes. One person down. And I hope this is your favorite Skylar. Is there any others?
I don't know that there are.
So
there's like 2 more, I think.
Okay.
Is there
Pretty
really?
sure.
When I do
maybe it's
when
just
I
one
do
other, but
quick Google search of Katie Lorcana, the AI says that Katie's a prominent figure in the Disney Lorcana community, known for content creator, podcast host of Live Laugh Lorcana and the Lore Keepers Inn, an official tournament commentator DLC. So they kind of mixed you all together. It's just all one Katie.
Wow, Full Metal Alchemist.
Still pretty good.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Still pretty good. Okay, Sky, the people want to know.
Yeah.
The people want to know. Well, Lucas told us that you guys have not started playtesting Infinity because we are doing Infinity here. But we did see a really cool congratulations on your most recent CCQ win. I asked Luke this earlier. If you had to, just tomorrow, Indianapolis, they said, hey, by the way, surprise, we changed it. We got you a seat with your name on it for being a finalist in the last NA DLC. What are you sleeving up tomorrow at the spur of the moment Infinity DLC?
I have not tested Infinity hardly at all. I mean, I tested it like a couple months ago just to kind of check out the format. And I played pretty much exclusively Blue Steel, and then I played one small event, PPG Orlando. I think I bubbled at 9th. But I'd sleeve up Blue Steel. Blue Steel right now with no bans is pretty solid pick. I think with some of the new cards like the Keep the Ancient Ways, it's probably can just beat anything. Like I think raw power wise, like Blue Steel is just absolutely absurd. With the inclusion of Cindy from Whispers, you can just have infinite ink, re-trigger Cindy every turn if they don't deal with it, and then just have infinite cards with Hiram. So I'd probably sleeve up Blue Steel, but I've got some ideas to test. I'm excited to get in the lab and test a format that's got a lot more openness, it feels like, than core, even though I still have fun with core and trying some stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely. We did just see dogs, interestingly enough, here in the Infinity game. So chat was having some fun with that. They were like, come on, it's still dogs. But hey, if it's good, it's good.
Dogs is very strong. You got stuff like Chernobog. I mean, I think Tramp in general is just going to be a super big card, even in Infinity. I think there's some really crazy stuff that you can do with it. If we've seen what Willow plus Tramp does in core, and whenever you have just more efficient cards at your fingertips to boost those 2 cards, it can get out of hand pretty quick.
Well, you're muted, Luke. Unless you were not talking to us.
I was just like, seems about right. And then you're like, you're muted. I'm like,
we'll just all look at each other. Like, no, you go ahead, Luke.
I was like, no, please, somebody else take it. And then he was muted, and I was like, okay.
Well, I am excited because he's locked into the White Monster. That means, guys, you're about to see something really special tonight because it is 8 o'clock at night. It is time to lock in, and I'm very, very excited. I've watched your guys' match. It feels like I have TCG player up. I'm gonna pull up every card ever made because it sounds like every card ever made is being played tonight.
Yeah. I wasn't quick enough with it, but I was trying to pull them up. Keep the Ancient Ways got
match 1? I know you had an appointment earlier. Were you able to watch what happened in round 1?
It was incredible.
I was at the vet, and it looked like it was Christmas time. Rascal
Yeah,
Adams, who
it
I thought was
was
on Lords of Lore, but he's on Luxury of Lore
so.
tonight.
Wow, throwing me under the bus. So I had the right logos. I tried to put us back to the main show. Chat, JD, and Willow were not having it. Said no, we're watching this Lords of Lore game. So I swapped us back over, and I'm terrible at my job, and I got the names fixed, but I didn't get the logos fixed.
Oh
So I
wow,
do
okay.
apologize for that. It's my fault. That
Okay,
was
I didn't
Lords
mean
of
to
Lore.
do that. I thought that there was some like breaking news, but
Trade now in.
Draft happened.
touchy
No, it was
subject.
really cool. It was yeah, it was a ruby and an emerald list. Yeah, I definitely recommend if you guys didn't get a chance to see it that you like watch it back. It was actually that fun. We were having such a blast, but like the cards also were just working really well because obviously in Infinity it's not as restricted. And I think he won 2-0, right?
Yeah. From
Yeah.
like Harlan being like, okay, I'm at 19 with a awarded character. Like Harlan could have quested with his Alice, given the bodyguard ward to protect it for a whole turn. But he apparently maybe earlier in the game a Lady Tremaine was revealed or something. But he played around Lady Tremaine, didn't quest. Lady Tremaine was played, the bodyguard got eaten. Then we played another character, and it just wasn't enough to do that. And so it's like very crazy. At your local Infinity events, people are going to be playing that deck. It's like I want to build it and play it right now. Even it
looked
looks
really
so
fun.
I would watch it, but we did get a Switch too, so.
Oh, Pocopia's got to take the precedence.
You got to send me that friend code. I'm joining that island.
I saw your tweet, Katie, about if it's worth it to get a Switch just for that game. Please let me know. I'm in the exact same boat. So if it is worth
it's great.
We're going to the store and making some purchases.
Yeah. I want to leave reality. But before we do that, we have round 3. Although this is titled round 3. So it's match 3, round 3, round 3, round 3.
Round 3, match 3.
Match 3. And Sky's match 1. I'm very excited. I'm like his Sherpa casting mountain. He's taught me how to play some decks, and I'd be like, welcome. Let's climb this mountain.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I was expecting this to be core. I didn't even know it was going to be Infinity tonight when I agreed to this.
You caught everybody by surprise.
I think Infinity is a format that, as far as we're aware right now, people tend to bring the same 2-3 decks currently. So I think this format is going to be interesting to see. Obviously, teams can't bring 3 of the same deck. They're going to have to bring some potentially weird stuff, maybe some stuff that they brewed, but I'm excited to see what shows up on the table.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different decks, actually. We jumped around a bunch. We've seen Blue Steel and Ruby Sapphire. We expect to see those, but then, Amethyst Emerald, we saw some dogs being played. But it looks like we're shuffling up and doing some altars here. So you will see Willow and I later. I think you're casting tomorrow as well, correct?
Yes, I'm casting tomorrow, but I get to hand it off today to very capable hands.
All right, so we're going to wave bye-bye, and we'll see you later.
Well, I am excited and scared, but Sky, this is a format that, like you said, you've done Blue Steel, but like you said, there might be some decks that have been slept on. So, are you hoping to see your beloved deck, or you're like, surprise me? I want to see something I've never seen.
I'd be fine with seeing it, but I kind of want to see some spice. I want to see if anybody's dipped their fingers into the brewing pot and pulled out something special. I think it's one of my favorite parts about card games is being able to kind of look at the meta and say, all right, here's what people are missing. I'm bringing something and kind of spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we do have color in chat saying if Cole does not play Lonely Grave, I am crashing out. So I feel like Cole will bring the spice. At least he'll bring the fire with coals, hot coals. Is that something?
I can't imagine I'd see Lonely Grave. That one, I don't think there was enough cards even before rotation that had some good synergy with just being, banished by voluntarily. But I have some faith we'll see some good stuff here.
We do have Be Prepared, so we don't have to build our Be Prepareds anymore.
Yes, and with the Ralph is oftentimes a Be Prepared because he's taken out a lot of your stuff with him.
But for those catching up, we are in match 3, round 3 of the ICL. It's 3-3-3, and so Luxury is up 2-0. But every match matters. So Flower Farm says, "I'm down, but I'm not out." And this is Sky's debut on the mic, although it was not your debut because you are Podcanna's second in charge. I don't know. Look, I don't
Yeah,
know how that
not my
works.
first time on the mic. My first time in the booth, we'll say.
I know you were a storied streamer before this. I didn't even see that era. That
Yeah,
was
so my casting style is probably very much what I was like streaming. I just pretty much commentated my own game, was saying what I was thinking every time, and I think that's why people kind of like to watch me because I was just very vocal about what I thought about the match. So.
yeah. Well, now we are off there. They're gently caressing the sleeve, saying, "Is this the good card?" It's pink versus pink, which is, that's the meta call. But we do have a flex here where a whip. I don't know how we're gonna handle that this entire time. Is it a whelp or a whoop?
A Will. I don't know. I know the other one, Quest with Cole. I
Yeah, Quest with Cole,
recognize that
easy,
name.
done. And I've seen a whelp several times. I've never had to say it out loud until just now. But it is a champion mat versus but I have money mat, which is two different types of flexes.
Yeah, one is embroidered and one's not. And I think that's going to beat up the champion tag. Sometimes I think the champion mat is not the flex that some people think it is, but it's if you earned it, then good on you.
That's true. It's true. I mean, when I see it, I go, wow, that's something I don't have. I did find a bucket. You had like a bucket of champion play mats, which I thought was humbling to find a little, like a discarded Rubbermaid bin where you're like, I don't need these. What am I going to do with
you can't play on them all. That's for sure. So I like to pick one mat and stick with it, and then if something comes along good enough to replace it, then we'll switch out.
But we have here, they are still shuffling. Perhaps they're waiting for a judge, or they're just kind of, saying, "Do I have 7 cards?" We don't know. The clock hasn't started, so
That's an important part. Time is an important part in TCGs in general, and especially this game. And I encourage everyone that plays the game, use your clock wisely. Don't always rush. If you have time, it's there for you to use. Don't slow play. But a lot of matches are done very quick, and I encourage people to take their time and use that clock.
yeah, don't quick play, don't slow play, play. Just play. But it is fair. I think sometimes we'll see people being like, give up and things like that. And it's like, okay, let them think a little bit. We have R&B in the chat. I have over 100 playmats. Well, I don't know in what context. Perhaps he owns a small store, but maybe he won them.
All champion mats.
All champion, over 100. Central Florida hates to see him coming. He just shows up and they're like, no. But I am hoping here we're going to see some Amber Steel song. I didn't hear them talk about it. I will say in Fort Smith, Arkansas, there was a few Amber Steel songs, and surprisingly, the mid-range was the longest deck that we observed. I thought it would be Blue Steel, but there was a mid-range Amber Steel match that lasted 400 hours perchance.
Yeah, Blue Steel's interesting. Games do take a long time as far as time goes because you do draw so many cards and have so much ink, so much decisions going on. But typically there's actually not that many turns in a Blue Steel game or even a Blue Steel mirror because you're ramping up so fast that your turns eventually become very potent. You either are wiping their board or you're just putting on so much pressure that they are eventually not going to be able to respond. So much more back and forth and kind of grindy games, like if you're playing Amber Steel song, just blowing up a bunch of stuff and not putting a whole bunch of lore on the field can take often like 12, 14 turns sometimes.
Well, I did notice DeCandio popped up and said play faster. So if he shows up and says that, we legally do. So we're gonna start the clock, Luke, because I don't think we can say no. The cards might turn into ash, like if he does like infinite card Tsukiyomi. Oh, okay. Well, we don't know. All right, he doesn't start it. I don't know how things work here. Deep sage wisdom right there. I mean, it is good. Play the speed that you're supposed to.
Some people like to play fast and some people like to play slow, and people have their different opinions on that. I know. So I come from Pokemon, and I played that for quite a few years. And a lot of the top players, some of the best players in the world, if you think of Tord Reklev, there was a player, and he plays notoriously slow. And some people don't like that, but he always is at the top table. So
Pokopia.
Pokopia.
If only I was playing that, but I can't. But I'll think about it. We do have Decked Out Giant, who is a local. We have Saying Sky. I don't think I'll ever forget having to play against you and your Blue Steel 2 rounds in a row at set champs.
that can happen. I'm sure people are familiar that if you can play last round of Swiss and then get instantly paired into top cut. And sometimes it feels bad because that typically means it'll turn out the same way and you might just get beat by somebody twice because of the matchup. But it does happen and it's unfortunate.
We do have playing slow equals good. Slow playing equals bad. I think I couldn't have said it better myself. You can.
Yeah, I would say playing carefully, playing thoughtfully. It looks like we are getting started here. I see a popsicle, so it is either probably blue steel or red blue. I didn't see what he inked there.
It was a Fortisphere. So he inked a Fortisphere going in the popsicle, but then in turn we have the Diablo into Chernobog's followers. I miss him. I love him. A little bit of you're hoping there's no cannons to be fired, but I doubt it because it sounds like it is Item City. Are you hoping to see your dear beloved deck here?
Yeah, we'll see what we can do here. Blue steel, I'm gonna say, is typically probably favored in any sort of purple value engine. Hiram is just such an efficient card at drawing, and purple typically needs a little bit more board presence, a little bit more finesse to get some cards versus just playing one popsicle and playing one Hiram and saying you got to deal with this. And as we see, he draws one card with the Chernobog's followers, so that is one of the sneaky ways that they can kind of get some cards back.
It is nice. I mean, that was a card that was beloved. Ooh, I think that we just saw the library go into the inkwell and a pass, which is interesting. We don't know what quest Cole is up to. He got his quest, but we don't know what the Cole magic is. But we go over to Alip here, and will he continue on the item journey? There he is. How does it feel? How does it feel seeing him again?
Feels good. I'd actually rather see something like a Cindy going down first. I typically, when I play blue steel, like to get the Cindy down and then next turn start threatening to Hiram, because if you do that, then you can threaten to, play a Bell or play a Mulan and start re-triggering while playing a Hiram and drawing cards. But Hiram on 3 is still just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you are definitely a proponent of the power of Cinderella. So I do wonder how much new cards will be teched into these two decks. That is something that we saw in the tournament so far. Is it does seem like there's a little hesitation to get too crazy and tech in too many cards. But there's our third Amethyst card in the inkwell, and then one more Amethyst. It could be mono Amethyst. Oh no, I'm an enemy. But there we go. We have the Tetracast. Look, I got a new card right here.
Yeah, we see the cat. It's honestly looking like a core deck, but with a little bit different one drops. I'm hoping to see something that can generate some value because we're seeing double Hiram or Hiram and a Scrooge, which are really, really powerful, potent cards for blue steel. And if we don't see something soon that's going to generate some value, I think blue steel is probably just going to run away with this game.
That is something I have seen you do many times. It is kind of scary to see how absolutely oppressive a board like this can be because things like surface pressure. Oh, there we go. So this is the start of the oppression party, and then along came Zeus. I love this. It's a classics.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck getting another item for Hiram next turn, and then just taking this turn to sing a Zeus and absolutely just delete Cole's last turn is not looking good. Even though Hiram took his turn to sing that versus drawing cards, the items are going nowhere, and that's just 2 free cards that we're looking to see next turn from him.
Yeah, I mean, I am wondering. So I have always mused that what if we had a deck called Not Prepared, where it was everything one color except for Be Prepared. So what if that's what's going on here? I'm hoping because at this point the board is getting wider and wider. We have a genie out here, which I mean, more card draw, but then what? Because like we see in this blue, this Sapphire Steel deck just gets very, very oppressive. The value is off the chain, and there is Tamatoa Happy as a Clam, which is another card. This is reunion special.
Yeah, this is just really rough. And we see even another removal spell coming out here for AWILP. I think this one's probably just packed up.
Oh no.
Sadly, I don't think Amethyst has the tools to deal with a board like this. If it is red purple, maybe he can play a Be Prepared, but I think there's going to be like so many cards just drawn by that time he gets to 7 ink and gets to clear the board. So he's just paying for a reset. Looks like it is red though, so maybe we'll see a Be Prep in a couple turns here. A Rabbit's a good setup for it. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I have not had the chance to put my tired eyes on in a long time. It is the bounce package. That Rabbit is actually a pretty good play if you do plan to wipe the board or do a Be Prepared. So there goes the dreams of being mono purple, because we did see a Maui here to all go down into the inkwell. But on the other side, it is Value City, because once the engine of blue steel gets firing, it does feel kind of like you can't stop it, especially because the card draws seemingly infinite when you have Hiram and out items and Tamatoa and Scrooge.
Yeah, and it's not a good sign that our blue steel player here was about to tap his Tamatoa, seemingly going to quest and play an item for free, and he chose not to and play another item from hand. So it's potentially a lucky diamond hand, potentially just another item, but either way, keeping the items flowing is just going to be absolutely insane to his hand size here, and he's going to be able to develop probably 5 to 6 cards in hands every turn for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, Tamatoa Happy as a Clam is one of those fascinating cards because it was absolutely one of the most expensive, most powerful cards at a time, especially when Set 7 just came out. And I think you were one of the reasons it was that expensive down at World Class Cards.
Yeah,
But
we got to play for it for a couple weeks, a
yeah,
couple events, and then
you
it
broke
said,
it.
"We can't do this. This is too good." And we see the Scrooge come down and get the dime in hand. I don't even know if he played it for free. I'm not sure. I think he played a different item there as well. Maybe he played two. But either way, I think it's not looking great here. We're at almost 10 lore, halfway there lore wise, and we have, I think, 5 cards in hand. So
Yeah, and I think he put down the Ink Runner, if I know my blurry card technology. And so that is an interesting one in there. I'm not sure of any. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what kind of evasives could be coming down on the other side, but at this point, it's just an item, and you
I
have
think it's
time.
actually the new item Blue Smoke.
You're right.
I don't. I think you have to destroy this item or banish it to give something ward. So I think he's just electing to keep it on the board. But that makes me wonder: did he put down the dime underneath? I can't see. It's kind of off the screen. Electing to play that is interesting over the dime for free because obviously dime is seven cost, and that's a lot of ink to cheat out.
Yeah, I feel like they just don't feel the pressure on their side. They're kind of playing the solitaire game that people joke about, where they're like, okay, whatever you're up to over there. I mean, we do see they finally got up to sixing. So I think just knowing that whatever, you don't have it yet. You have one more turn until that kind of scary be prepared we haven't thought about in a while. But there comes down that dime. And that one he paid full, or did he do for
I think the dime was underneath the
under
blue
it? He
smoke.
hit it. He obscured it under the blue smoke. We love that.
So
And
this
yeah,
is a classic thing that red purple back in the day when before rotation, you, be prepared does not take out items. So if you can slap down a dime before they play a be prepared, red purple hates to see that coming. Even if he throws down his whole hand here and eats to be prepared, you're still going to have a dime and some items, and it's just kind of inevitable that these are going to probably get you there to the end of the game.
We do have JDZ saying Ruby Amethyst losing to Dime, take me back. It's just like the olden times. But I think Ruby Amethyst is a fascinating deck because I mean it won nationals. It was like the deck to be, but it just right now it's looking like it's core versus infinity over here because it's doing just a little bit at a time. Like you mentioned, I mean, the dime came out before the be prepared. So if be prepared happens, we've already drawn a ton of cards, got a ton of value. We have a popsicle just in case. So it sounds like Wilp is ready for the rebuild, build back better phase. But I am fascinated to know what Quest with Cole has in hand. I mean, if he gets a card off of that Merlin Rabbit, but I mean, be prepared's an expensive turn. He can't sing it right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think this kind of showcases we only got to play with this Sapphire Steel deck for a little bit. Previously, Red Purple was a tyrant of the format, having be prepared. But the thing that shuts down Blue Steel the best is early interaction and forcing Blue Steel players to not be able to do what they want. Cards like Diablo, so if they play the Harem, they're drawing with them. Some of the early removal cards. These early interactions are really important to keep Blue Steel doing from what it wants to do because it's some of the just most raw, powerful things that Blue Steel can do. And be prepared is not that. It is wait till you do your thing for a while, and I'm going to clean up. And I think Blue Steel just does too much before the be prepared comes down.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it come down. It was like muscle memory. We saw Aelip just start grabbing cards because, I mean, listen, we all remember where we were when Be Prepared was the only way that a game would end. But I mean, he's gotten up to 13 lore and now is able to build back a little bit slow at a time. And it's kind of tricky because you feel like you've done something when you wipe the board, but now it looks like nothing ever happened. We have 4 items, like you mentioned, those went nowhere. We were able to play Scrooge for free, and it's misery.
Yeah, and everything that our Blue Steel player here is doing is at least replacing itself in cards. So the board gets wiped. He plays down a Tamatoa and 2 other characters. The Scrooge grabs a card, and the Tamatoa brings back an item. So even if he has another B prep, he's not going anywhere. He's just stalling for time here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I mean, it doesn't. Oh, there we go. So our second, you can do it. Come on, sing it.
There's the second one. That's
Okay,
probably
just
the last ace in the hole here for Cole. I don't think he's got a strong hand at all, and I'm not sure what it's going to take to rebuild. I don't think Red Purple has like the tools to set up a robust draw engine in one turn to kind of speed up his clock and put pressure on this dime here. Because really, our blue steel player can just take any cards and just activate the dime each turn. It's really just like a 3-turn clock.
yeah, it's interesting watching this because I mean, part of what I'm looking for is like, what new technology have we introduced? I mean, we saw Cheshire Cat briefly enter the board and then leave moments later. We saw blue smoke, which was a little bit surprising to me, but it is an item. One cost items are always bread and butter for this deck. But other than that, it's fascinating to see how Aleb's decks is like, no, remember it was good when it came out and it's still good. I just added a robot queen, some blue smoke. Otherwise, this is fine. This is peak
Yeah, I mean,
technology.
the general core is there and it is so strong. And we see another Tamatoa come down. He's at the ink level that he can just play these Tamas and activate the dime. Red Purple can't interact with the dime, so it's looking like this one's just over. The blue steel deck, like you said, does have a couple interesting new tools. I don't think they're going to showcase too much in this matchup. The Robot Queen might be able to take out some one cost, but those are typically quickly off the board. Blue Smoke is interesting as well, but Red Purple's not known for targeting things like a steel deck might. So it's probably just going to be another item that's going to sit there and boost these Tamatoas.
Now we do see the reason that Amethyst is, hated by all is because of that card draw. But in this case, it doesn't. It feels like Sapphire's the card draw deck because at this point we were just scooping and going to game two. It was a really interesting. Quest with Cole is the control deck, but it made him seem like Olip was driving the entire time. I mean, if you had to describe this items deck, I mean, is it considered more of a control deck due to the high? I mean, it's tricky. Combo would it be combo due to the items plus the Tamatoas? How would you define this
I
deck?
think it's just the good deck.
The
Like
good one. All
there,
right.
there's some decks that reach a critical mass of such good cards that they do it all. They if you don't interact with them, they're going to draw a bunch. They're going to put a bunch of stuff on the board, and they have solid removal to stop what you're doing. And I think it's at the point where it can go over everything because of the item game at the end. And it just also has so much free stuff that you can play between the Scrooge, between the Bell, reloading your hand with Hiram, that you're just going to start always build a massive board and always threaten to remove things efficiently with some songs that you sing like Strength or Zeus. It's really just kind of just a menace. I think like I said before, I think the best way to counteract this is you've got to do something early that punishes them for doing what they want. Something like a shifting a Diablo and maybe turning off spell or turning off songs for a turn with Pete. Getting that guy drawing cards with the Hiram is going to be really important to stopping this, or just going under them and playing very aggressive stuff like Amber Steel aggro could be a good answer to this strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we did get to see that down in Sharp Gaming where a aggro deck just ran through the entire meta and said, "You guys do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to be done by turn 5, or I'm done totally." And I mean, you played him, and I think you saw that they were just able to Nala Daisy. Now we have some new ones like Lilo that I think are a problem that you have to respect when you're trying to do.
Yeah,
These long
there's no
plays.
doubt that the aggro decks are just very, very efficient, and they are a way that you can kind of go faster before your opponent gets stuff going. But we've gotten new tools from the new set. Angel is a very, very scary tool to give to Blue Steel. Even seeing in constructed the Blue Steel versus Dogs matchup, Angel can do absolute like anarchy to the Dogs board if it's played on turn 3. And there's no better deck that wants to play a 4-cost thing on turn 3 than Blue Steel.
Anarchy. Me and Liam were having so much fun. There was no shortage of opportunities to do Stitch impressions. Also, thanks to your deck, you had Lilo. No, you didn't, Lilo. But you had Stitch and Angel.
We've heard the Stitch impression, but I don't think we've heard the Angel impression yet. I think we need a little bit more of that.
I sang it. Color said it was cursed but accurate. Of the
okay. There we go. Okay.
Really good.
Now we got it.
People like it. I think people have clipped it. They listen to it as like an ASMR when they fall asleep. Riz, I assume that's to me, but I don't know. But yeah, so now we are going in. Why is Kitty so good at it?
We have practice. I'm kind of teeing her up here for this.
Yeah.
She's done Angel quite a bit. Okay. I was trying
to. Sometimes he says, can you stop? I'm tired. And I'm like, oh, that's pops.
And she does Stitch too. That's actually
she does it all. But
for those who have not seen that episode, but
it's only one. If you have 20 minutes, you can catch up on all the Angel and Stitch episodes in all of Disney.
And there's a movie as well. There's important lore in that movie.
maybe, yeah, but Pokopia. So, but here we go. We have starting off a little. I was going to say a little faster. It's the same start as we had last time. And it's tricky because, as we know, Alip has the access to that bell and he can go just as fast, which would be very, very frustrating, I think, if you're on the other side. In this case, we get a robot queen coming down and no bell on one. But that robot queen's interesting. I saw you put her into your blue steel deck back at the beginning of set 9. She is one of those cards that saw you kind of going off, but I've seen some people put up as many as 3. I mean, do you think there's a proper number she's a one of, or do you think she does have more value in a dog meta?
So you can do the math on Scrooge and see how many inkable items you should be running to be able to consistently hit them. And I say inkable because that's a very important thing. Most of your items need to be inkable. We have Lucky Dime is not. We can't afford to play a lot of these uninkable kind of bigger items. So Robot Queen is a very nice inkable one cost item that can kind of help a little bit smooth out the Scrooge the odds, as well as give an opportunity to kind of do something against aggro in a way that's not you don't have to have a singer on the board, which is a nice thing about Robot Queen. So we can play a bell, crack it, pay 1, and take out maybe a piglet, something like that, something to slow down the tempo. But like I said, the angel might actually change the math on how many of these Robot Queens we need. It might fill that role of, okay, we need to take out something like a piglet on the board.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because normally the economy of cards make it where Stitch can or Angel can be a little bit stressful, but I mean there is no shortage of cards as long as you can get that Hiram engine online, which, as you have told me, there are times that Hiram does not show up. But I mean, I, I am interested to see if we also have a Cinderella here. As we know, a Cinderella is not card draw, but she is hand stability. But there we go. This is interesting. We have Flynn Rider Frenemy into Flynn Rider Frenemy. Currently, though, it is the most powerful card on the board, but I do think the strength, something's coming down. Although if Hiram comes down, ironically, Flynn Rider Frenemy will trigger himself, I believe, because he's
this would be the ultimate turn to drop the Cindy here because it's going to match those Flynns.
Yes.
I actually like to see Cole doing this, even though I don't think it's going to get him anywhere. I think this is the type of angle you got to shoot and hope he like misses a 4 cost here, and just let these Flynns get to like 10, 11 lore for you, because I really think you are going to struggle once Blue Steel gets its engine going at all. And it's very likely that we see the Hiram next turn, and he just chose to play the Scrooge to shut off this lore, which is a very smart move, as you do not need to go anywhere too fast. You just got to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's very interesting how much Fortisphere was the kind of like not key to dismantling. Well, I mean, it was Fortisphere and Hiram at the same time that were removed from the deck. But with that, Scrooge just kind of fell to obscurity. So I'm interested to see in this meta, is it so powerful where we're gonna have to do like will Fortisphere be banned a second time? That'd be very tragic. Will Hiram, but
I think they banned the Hiram, and I think if they ban the Hiram again, that's going to be plenty. I don't think Fortisphere ever needed to catch a ban. I think Scrooge by himself in a vacuum is not quite oppressive enough to warrant a ban on Fortisphere. But he is very powerful still in this Blue Steel deck in Infinity. He's a big body that you can eventually play for free once you get a certain amount of items. And with how many efficient items that draw a card now, it's very easy. Stuff like Ink Runner being able to be played on top of these 4 popsicles, 4 Fortispheres. Like there's plenty of hands that if you have a Scrooge and a couple items, you can just go for a free Scrooge as like your opening plan versus playing for ramp into a Hiram or ramp into a Cindy.
yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated to see how it evolves. And we have Keep the Ancient Ways on the screen right now, which is interesting because you mentioned this might be one of those kind of meta breakers where if this is the deck where everybody's playing Blue Steel items, then you almost have to play Keep the Ancient Ways. But if a ban comes, it'll be interesting because I mean that changes the calculus.
It's a very good point, and it's something that I don't really like about the Infinity meta. If nothing is done, is that the person who gets to the first Keep the Ancient Ways in the Blue Steel mirror is probably just going to win the game. Shutting your opponent out mid game of actions and items when that's the most critical time to be playing those is really unfortunate. And sometimes you can keep the Ancient Ways into another Keep the Ancient Ways, and then it's probably like your opponent just did everything they wanted to end the game, and you've been stifled off of 2 turns.
Well, as we chit chatted, we do see Maui coming down onto the board, which does kind of is a natural antidote to Hiram's. He is perfectly sized to come across at that Hiram Flaversham. But it feels like sometimes you get the value you wanted out of Hiram, and you also get to the point where Be Prepared could be coming, Madame Medusa, Lady Tremaine, things like that, where maybe that is the point where you need to get the value out of Hiram. Uh,
Yeah, I think we're just still going with the cheese gameplay of Flynn Rider here. I think Maui is the bigger statted attack than anything in our blue steel players deck, and I think he's just saying, "Hey, do you have a Zeus or do you have a Strength, or can I please get to like 12 with these Flynns?"
Yeah, and then to your point, he says, "Fine, you can probably have one turn because I don't think he does." Oh, he's going to try to use the Robot Queen, which I believe does deal 2 damage. Correct?
Yes, it's going to deal 2, which makes me think he's got a Strength because he's one character short of 5 here to just let the Strength cleanly take it out. But it looks like he doesn't. He just elects to take out one of the Flynns and removes one of the triggers.
Yeah, we do see him vaguely gesture at his board to say, "If you notice, this is the strongest thing available." Um, and that is not a satisfying thing that we have seen in a while. But I mean, that's a combo we've had, I believe, since set 3 is where Frenemy was printed. But we are going to go ahead and deploy another genie, keep drawing cards, deploying as much technology as you can. So if we get to the point where we are able to do a Be Prepared situation, we can get as much value as we can. One thing you might be able to do here, yep, you will go ahead and get rid of the Hiram. No singing for Maui. Maui can sing. He doesn't typically do it, but he can sing Friends if you really want to. But in this case, he's really tired of Hiram drawing those cards. And now we're going to go and pass over because I believe he should be at 7 ink now with 4 cards and some amount of cards in hand, but he should be at his 7 ink turn.
Yeah, this is an interesting play. I do think the double genie, I like to see that it kind of goes into the game plan of if you don't have your preferred interaction, I might be able to sneak up to 20 and just kind of get there. We do have the option to trade the Tipo and the Pete if we don't have a song for the Maui. But that's not a trade that Cole is not entirely fine with. I think he's perfectly well saying, "Hey, my Maui took out 3 things, and it also enabled me to get a couple lore with my Flynn trigger here." So we'll see if we can find a removal spell if we're going to have to make that suboptimal trade.
Now, if you do see me crying, it's not because I'm sad, it's because Zelda is farting again. But I will persevere. I will be strong. But we now pass over to Ilip. It's difficult to see how many cards are him, but he does go ahead and say, "Listen, if you're gonna do what I think you're gonna do, I'm happy to take the trade," which makes me believe he's got an ample hand to rebuild, and he does, starting with Tamatoa, happy as a clam, getting 2 items back from the discard, and this is kind of that reoccurring painful engine storm that we have seen and we love. We can just ink, draw a card, and say, "Listen, if you're going to do what you're probably going to do it." But in the meantime, we have turned off the Flynn Rider Frenemy 3 lore. So we're feeling a little bit better. We do have at 9 lore, but the card draw is kind of on Cole's side, where I do feel like he does have the benefit of maybe staying in this game as long as he can. It's difficult. I just feel like Alip has 5,000 cards in hand. So I just feel like the inevitability is always going to be on Alip's side, but that could just be me dooming.
Yeah, the deck lacks interaction here, and I think the next turn for Blue Steel is going to be the deal breaker of whether or not Cole can get to 20 before he establishes his value engine, because it's very likely that we see a good item played by Watamatoa for free next turn.
Yeah, and I mean that's really like you mentioned, the Tamatoa playing an item for free. The dime is, I think, kind of the most comfortable thing because it is the where he can start making giant leaps on the board. But in the meantime, there we go. Merlin Goat. We don't get to see this wonderful goat. He was one of my favorite cards on Disney Lorcana because you get a lore in, lore on the way out, maybe some lore in the middle. It's a beautiful thing to see. And there we go. He's snaking up forward to the lore total. And notably, I mean, he's got a healthy stat line. In this case, we do go ahead and play Madam Fox to get the genie back, which I assume will be to redeploy it next turn. But he's keeping a pretty healthy board presence and a healthy lore total. That goat is a little bit menacing. We've seen that kind of get out of control if not kept in line.
Yeah, seeing the go come out is actually fantastic. I think it actually puts him in a spot where if he has a couple more good cards, it's going to be really hard to keep him off of 20. It's going to be put in a spot where you're going to have to remove everything every turn. And the blue steel deck can do it. It has enough card draw to, get multiple songs, multiple things that remove characters, but we don't have anything that's evasive yet. We don't see an ink runner yet. So this genie and the genie that he just bounced are going to be really tough to remove. And it's probably going to eat all the removal that our blue steel player finds here.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, we saw you add an ink runner pretty early. I mean, the day after Whispers in the Well came out, specifically for that reason, where the Amethyst has access to just so many powerhouse evasives, and that is one way to deal with it. And it is at the point where he is going to have to put on those control hat, because right now, if he doesn't control what's on the board, it will spiral out of control. So
Yeah,
in this,
taking the last turn to play the Tamato, I think is the last setup turn that you can take. You really got to start, harvesting the value out of these cards from hand that you've kind of taken a little bit of time to build up with Hiram and the Tamatoa. And playing a Pete is really not what you want to see. You don't really care. Stopping the B prep, you'd prefer them to use the B prep and deal with their board, and you can save your removal. But it is just a body. It does buff a strength, and that's what we're seeing here. That's a one way to deal with the genie. But we know he still has a genie in hand. I do think that it's a pretty heads up play to bounce the genie versus the goat. He is getting close to 20, but that two lore and evasive and replacing itself at this point in the game is probably going to equal more than that little bit of lore bouncing the goat.
yeah, and I mean, I think that is an excellent point with that. Be prepared, where it's kind of your between a rock and a hard place. Where obviously it would kind of wants him to wipe the board a little bit because of what's going on right now. But in this case, he's going to go ahead and draw a card off Genie. And if we get to that Fox goat recursion issue, it just becomes hard once you get in that 18, 17, 16 roll. And there's another, the Threeny has come down. You've never gotten to see me say Threeny in real time, but it is my favorite thing to see. And yeah, at this point, Cole is in a pretty comfortable spot. 17 on the board, a goat still on there, which is a floating 18. So at this point, Oil Whip has a lot of controlling to do, and it's going to be difficult at Forlorn. Now, we are on game one right now for anybody just tuning in.
Oh, this is game two.
It is? What happened in game one? Oh, it is game two.
We'll steal one. Yeah.
Pip watch. Pip watch, everyone. So we got one Pip on Ale Whip, and soon maybe a Pip with Cole. But we should Pip with Cole is my favorite.
Yeah, I think Cole's actually pulling this one out, and this is typically a turn where Blue Steel can take off enough so Cole cannot just quest out and have the game, while also establishing a board menacing enough where if he plays a dime in the following turn, he can just win. It looks like we do see the big Tama, which is oftentimes part of the equation of establishing our own game on board, but I don't think we're going to have enough songs to sing with our characters to take out these genies and take out enough floor here.
Yeah, and I think that's where things get a little tricky, because I mean, as far as removal options, we saw Zeus, we saw Strength Raging Fire, we saw Robot Queen, but otherwise it generally is just going to be challenging. And now that you have those two evasives on the board, the math is just really rough for Alip. So he does go ahead and scoop it on up to go to game three.
You could challenge the three characters, go 1-for-1 there, but seeing he played a big Tamatoa that turn, we would have had to have saved some ink and played like a Zeus or a Strength to take out one of the genies, let him go to 19. And at that point, you're taking out a goat. So there's really no way without taking out both genies to stop him from just taking the game.
So everybody rejoice. It is not only a blue steel world. Look at that. Ruby Amethyst, it was in there. It beat them 20-6. So that has to be an exciting time. But we are going to game three. Like we've seen, it just definitely depends on the momentum. It does kind of look like that frenemy Maui combo did do some pretty heavy lifting there. Is there anything you think that... is there any disruption that Cole can try to do on AOWIP's end that could possibly, because it seems like it's almost uninteractable, the things that are going on his side once that engine gets fired?
Yeah, the Blue Steel deck does not play a whole lot of cheap characters, and there's stuff like Lady Tremaine that can kind of expose that a little bit, but Blue Steel just plays so much stuff, and like the cheap characters are free and they look big, but they're still, you played them for free. So stuff like Lady Tremaine, seeing that in the red purple deck kind of just tells me that it doesn't have efficient interaction to disrupt Wilp's gameplay. I think the big thing that we saw last game was taking advantage of going first and using Flynn Rider, probably hoping he doesn't have a bell start, because that probably would have just shut down all that lore gain early and probably start just made it almost impossible to get to 20. But obviously going second, Flynn Rider is not going to do the same thing. You're one turn behind, and he can probably just match the Flynn always.
Yeah, and I will note that, I mean, of these two decks, I do feel like any deck with Amethyst is going to be a little bit more consistent and easy to just kind of keep driving forward and keep refilling the board and the hand over and over again. Ellipse deck does have the ability to stall out and not have spectacular plays like we saw. He didn't have that one turn bell. He didn't have the dime deployed, and he had to respond a lot to Cole's board. So I am interested to see if it fires off here. I'm also interested to see, it doesn't look like he included Cinderella at all. Do you think that's something that would make this deck a little bit more powerful, or is that not needed in this item deck?
Yeah, I would love to see this in real. I think you're giving up a lot of early pressure and ramp slash card advantage. Pretty much everything you would want to do if you have time by not playing that Cinderella. If we would have seen it on 4, he wouldn't have had to play the Scrooge. He could have still matched those Flynn Riders and stopped the triggers while developing his own game plan a lot more than the Scrooge. Cinderella is also fantastic because we already want to play 4 of the bell, the 3/3s, and we can also play something like Mulan to make it so if you don't interact with my Cinderella, I'm going to re-trigger it every turn and just keep gaining ramp with card refill effects.
Yeah, and I mean that ramp is the thing that Ilip has great access to, and he definitely took advantage of in game one, not so much game two. But there we go, it's deja vu. We do see the Chernobog's follower coming down. On the other side, we saw just a Forest Sphere, no bell. But the Forest Sphere does draw that card, and then we are going to go ahead and sail onto choosing to ink the Tipo and possibly play another item this turn. We'll see if he's going to use that extra ink that you have available to you when you play sail. But that is the advantage in this pairing. And there we go.
Yeah, we see a Scrooge inked, and we do see that extra item. That pretty much tells me he has a Hiram in hand. If you did not have the Hiram, you would probably keep that Scrooge, as it's probably the second best option if you're not playing something like Cinderella. But having Blue Steel going first here and seeing these items, that's already requirement number one to just not brick so bad that you lose the game. Is you just need a couple items and probably one Hiram, and you have enough time going first where you're probably just going to have a full hand like we saw the first game.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this Flynn Rider frenemy is normally paired with Sisu, the emboldened sibling or warrior, one of the two. Medium-sized Sisu is generally how I refer to
Three
her.
cross CC is what I call
Yes.
it.
And in this case, he's actually using it to great advantage. He doesn't even need that technology because we have the Hiram and he's just counting on that being the play. But there we go. The bell comes down for free. The Hiram can eat one of the items, bell eats the other. And now suddenly the frenemy is feeling a little sad. But for a moment, it was a stunning play.
Yeah, we also saw the second Scrooge come down in the ink, so that leads me to believe he has another item, or was probably banking on the Hiram hitting another item. But having that bell, it doesn't matter that we ink the Scrooges. Our bell's bigger than the Flynn Rider, and we also have some singers now. If something ever comes down that's big enough to trigger the Flynn, we can probably just use a removal spell if we have one in our hand to take it out.
Incredible rascal albums with baby Sisu, big Sisu, and hand Sisu. I'm not saying hand Sisu. Well, that's hand Sisu. I don't know. Maybe I will.
Three cost Sisu would go incredibly hard here though, because Hiram loves to draw cards and then keep our hand big. So it's probably always going to be, unless dealt with, big enough to trigger the Flynn.
And it's interesting because we have seen cards enter the meta that punish greediness of the player. Clarabelle's a great example of that, where it's like, no, do it. Have as many cards as you want. I'd love to see it. In this case, Blue Steel is not shy from being as greedy as possible with the card draw. Now, that being said, we do need some items on the board if we're going to get as much advantage as possible. But there is something I haven't seen in a long time. Let the storm rage on. Look at you. You look like you just saw an old friend. How do you feel?
This hurts to see. This probably is such a huge tempo gain from a Wilp that I don't know what Cole is going to be able to do to start threatening the board again. It pretty much just turns off any sort of threat and says, "All right, you can do whatever you want. If you want to take the next 3 turns to just draw cards and put a couple guys on board, sure. I don't really care."
Yeah, I mean, even a board wipe, if it came in a couple turns, isn't so bad because these are not two of the most powerful. I mean, he'll be able to get some value off of Hiram as long as he can find an item, which the whole deck is built around finding them. So I would imagine one is coming down shortly. Big
Yeah,
in
he elected to play the Zeus as well and say, I'm just going to deal with your board entirely, and next turn I'll start doing my stuff again. Typically, I would say I would favor developing more and leaving one of those characters on the board because you don't need to remove them right now. But maybe he just didn't have something else that was super important to be doing.
Yeah, we do see him go ahead and that was the most gentle of exerting of ink I've ever seen. I think that was a
Uh,
12-degree angle.
I was about to say something the exact degree as well. I think
It
I
was-
was gonna say 10, but 12
yeah.
is good.
It was just, it's exerted, but it did exert to play that Tamato, getting to the items back, saving his problem of trying to find those items for later. But in this case, we do have Friends on the Other Side, which is just 2 cards. You sing it. Since then, we have a lot other technology to draw cards, so it is interesting seeing him favor this Friends on the Other Side. But I think being the song makes it the most scrumptious of card draw options. In this case, the rabbit being able to sing his own card draw song after drawing songs.
Yeah, Tamato in a way is like a very good friends on the other side, except instead of just going to the discard bin, he comes out onto the field and is a guy himself, and he also has a very effective ability in threatening to play a dime for free, which is even bigger bonus. So I think Sapphire wins a little bit on the efficient card draw trade here.
And there's Sisu. We see here the emboldened warrior coming down. Like we saw, that is generally paired. I mean, on curve, it would be some kind of one drop, then frenemy, then the Sisu. But in this case, he's coming down here a little bit late to the party, or she's coming down. But now we're at that point where all the engines are firing. I think he has a Zeus in hand. Things are rough for Cole in the sense that as long as he's able to keep the control at bay, he's going to be able to get a lot of value. Is he going to sing? No, he's going to go ahead and just quest here with the Tamatoa playing
It
that
looks like he
dime
does
for
have the
free.
dime. He always have the dime. This one is pretty brutal here. The cherry on top here is if he finds the strength to just remove this Sisu. But Bell can also just challenge this rabbit and still survive. So I think we're seeing a very, very strong turn here. And we haven't even played a character yet.
And to Kelly's point, who is the homeless Sisu? I think that is something visitor, unexpected visitor, something
Yeah, unexpected.
daring visitor. And she's going, perhaps some soup. That's what I always soup. I don't know what she's up to. I don't like her. I don't like the vibe that she's bringing to my party. If she crawled up to me like that, she's daring to be evicted. But
We see a Stormbeam saying this leads me to believe that he might have another bell. He might crack one of the popsicles and activate the robot queen here. It's going to be a Scrooge, which can do the same thing, and he can play that for free. We're probably going to finish off that Sisu then.
yeah, especially because leaving damage, we have seen that there is a Cheshire Cat inexplicable in Cole's deck. That being said, I don't think he fears 2 floating damage so much in this matchup. I think that's something Core fears greatly, but I'm not sure they would fear it in this exact matchup. But there we go. You are correct. The
Yeah,
robot
so he
queen has
does
evoked.
no reason to not pop the robot queen there and just take this out. Leaving him with just a rabbit. That's really its best benefit is that when the Be Prepared does come down, it draws you an extra card. So all the time in the world to just keep developing. You're still a couple turns off of Be Prepared, so no fear in just dumping the hand here. If he has something like another bell, well, he decides to ink it. Okay, says I don't need another bell right now.
It's the Nobel Peace Prize. Ba-dum-psh. Now we do have people in the chat. We have Jimmy the Dragon 21 saying, Sky, you're killing me with Hiram. It's Hiram. I feel like Sky's alternating between Hiram and Hiram. I think you're hedging your bets.
Am I? I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh, all right. Well, you're doing good.
Let me think of what I said when I used to play the deck.
I just call him Mr. Flaversham.
I like Hiram. Hiram is to me sounds fun. Like, I want to. Hiram is like it's so.
My favorite
is so much work to get there. Hiram is just like a nice flow.
When people call it haram, I think that's absolutely obscene.
Okay.
That is already a word, but
that is one way we could say that, but I don't think I'm gonna like to do that in my games.
No, I shall call him Mr. Flaversham, Mousesham,
Flavor
banned.
Sham.
I call him. Who cares? He's banned. Just kidding. This is Infinity. But there we go. We have a Madam M Fox, another Sisu. Could be the same as Sisu. I think he bounced back. Nope, it's another one. It's a new one of the empowered warrior, emboldened warrior.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I think this one's leaving just as fast as the last one did. I think we've got so many cards at this point that we're probably just going to have, either we just go so wide that we don't care, or there's going to be a Zeus or a Strength that's saying here.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because normally you get to the point where like, oh, well, the wider that AWIP goes, the more he's sad about a board wipe. But I mean, he's drawing just so many cards where I don't think you have many fears in life, especially now that you have that dime, you have some items on the board. We're even going to go ahead and get a Hiram out to go ahead and keep that hand size growing. So it really gets to the point where you feel like there's nothing you can do to scare AWIP and his blue steel deck. It gets to the point where they have all the puzzle pieces where it feels bad, especially with Cole being at 2 lore. But yeah, I was gonna say he could even deploy a location, but with the Scrooge McDuck, there really is no good feelings at this point in the game for Cole easily.
Yeah, you bring up a good point that every one of Blue Steel's characters, minus the Bell and the T-Boat, either replace themselves at the very least, or are actually a net positive, like the Tamatoa, like the Flaversham. These cards all are positive to the hand size, and that is absolutely backbreaking when you have the ink and the cards in hand to keep redeploying and forcing your opponent to deal with them while you're just netting cards to hand. And even in the if you're playing the Cinderella, the Bell actually becomes a plus in a way because you get to re-trigger that. So it really is just the Tipo and the Cinderella version that is minus to the hand.
Do we see it? Is this the new ways? It's not the ancient
This
yet.
this is a new card here. New card
Start the
found.
ancient ways. And this card will stop any action. So it's saying, you know how like be prepared would be kind of fun because your board is empty? Well, you can't. Not this turn anyway. And like you said, I mean, the value is pretty high, but we do see Lady Tremaine coming down. In this case, it is easy for him to decide that Scrooge McDuck has served his purpose for now.
Yeah, we don't need the Pete anymore to stop the Be Prepared when Red Purple is at 6 ink. This is a fine substitute, and Blue Steel is so efficient with their card draw that they would probably rather play this song than the Pete himself.
Yeah, and I mean, the Ancient Ways, I believe, is going to be it's 2. So even Tipo can sing this song, which is fascinating. That even if you have a Tipo or a Bell out there, anyone. But there we go. We have Hades, Infernal Schemer, which I'm always kind of interested to see if this is in the deck. But it really it feasts on these single play cards being played at a time. So this is a key piece. Do you? Oh, I don't feel like you always run Infernal Schemer in your Blue Steel decks. Is that a true or
No,
false thing?
I personally I think that there's enough efficient removal that the deck can kind of just draw so many cards that if you need to take out something big, you can always either double spell and use 2 resources to take out something, or just build a board that's big enough to sing a strength for massive numbers. It's also an uninkable 7 cost. That's kind of clunky when you're running probably 1 to 2 dimes. And the deck is so strong that if you can just avoid ever, kind of bricking with these larger uninkable cards, you're probably just off to the races and have a very good opener. So there's few times in my mind that the Infernal Schemer can actually have a suitable impact on the game and needs to be put in the deck.
Be prepared. I gave you a chance to sing it. You didn't do it.
No, I actually missed it. I think I should have known it was coming, as we saw the stopping of actions last turn, and he was sitting at 6 inks. So I think the inevitability was there. But once again, we have a lucky dime on the field, and that is just not what Be Prepared loves to see. This is probably dropping a Tama 8. I think we're at 10 ink at least to be able to just activate the dime. It's only activating for 3 currently, but looks like the Tama 6 comes over. That's probably a little bit stronger for this turn.
Be prepared.
It's so fun because I could hear Luke thumbing around with his mic. I could like he's excited. I could.
You
feel
could feel it.
Yeah,
He was
you can hear him just like. I was like, all right, let him in. But we love that. Luke has waited all infinity for this. But we do have JDZ saying Lorthel is a crazy thing to say. I will say I watched the DLC again, and there was a player named Lorpel, and I didn't know that was his name. I just thought they couldn't stop saying Lorthel. I thought something happened, and all casters couldn't stop saying it. But no, his name was Lorpel.
Yeah, I've since learned that we're supposed to say "game on board."
You have.
Apparently, that's to me that's a mouthful. I think we got to work on something. I don't know if Lorthol is the answer. I think we got to come up with something better because I don't want to say 4 words. I guess it's only 3 words, but still too much.
We're big gaming. He's got big game. We're big gaming now. Speaking of big gaming, Alip has been big gaming this whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess he has the Tama 8 cost just based on the body language. Yeah.
Yes,
he's itching to untap that dime and the misery here. The classic Tama 6 and the Tama 8s. That's going to do it for this game. As we see, the lucky dime just really potent if you can ever get it, even if you don't have to play it for free. If you're going first, you have the time to just spend 7 ink and take a turn to play it before the B prep. And it's gonna take down the red purple here.
Yeah, and I mean it's so fascinating because Alip barely seemed to care what Cole was up to, not like in a mean way, but in the way that like he was just doing what he needed to do. He has a little bit of removal, like we saw in the Hades, but sometimes it just kind of felt like insult to injury with some of them,
Yeah,
where
and
he
that's
didn't
that's a
need to do
testament to
Hades.
this to the strength of Blue Steel. If you, especially if you're going first, you oftentimes can just kind of do your own game plan. People compare it to playing solitaire. You just keep refilling your hand and making your opponent interact. If they want to interact, they can. If they don't, you're probably just running away with the game entirely. And that's kind of what we saw the two games that he had to play.
Yeah, and I mean, it was I don't know, it's fascinating because I mean, Infinity makes us kind of look at like the greatest hits of all time, and I feel like there's few decks more sorry, oppressive than Blue Steel was when it was at its peak. And when it was at its peak, Ruby Amethyst was not, I think, any a contender at all. So I do think there is some value, obviously, in Ruby Amethyst because those are Ruby is not good unless you get the core cards. Go between the Infinity cards, but man, I think unless there's a ban or something, that Blue Steel deck is just really good. The value you're able to generate is pretty incomparable to any other deck I can think of.
Yeah, if we look at the past formats before rotation, Blue Steel's main enemy that most people picked, and the reason why people stayed away from it for a lot of sets was that Red Blue was at the forefront of a lot of formats later on. And traditionally, Red Blue was, the counter. But now I think it's at a point that Blue Steel has so many tools and is so efficient with items that Red Blue is no longer the answer to Blue Steel.
Well, it sounds like Luke said, perchance I'll find you more Ruby games. And so it does look like the hallmarks of Blue Steel on one side and also Blue Steel on the other. I can't imagine it could be Ruby Steel on the side that we were in the Matrix, where I think hasn't been flipped yet.
Yeah, we're seeing like a quarter of the board here, but we do see a Scrooge, so I'm gonna guess it is also Blue Steel. It could be red blue items, but it's probably Blue Steel versus Blue Steel. I do see Cindy though, and I like to see that. That is a card that I think really deserves to be in the Blue Steel archetype and is comparable to Flaversham in its value.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because we talked about how all the cards that were most valuable in that last matchup were cards that just got the value replaced itself. It just instantly generated some kind of value. And Cindy, she can also sing. So, I mean, she's not doing challenging, but she does pretty much everything else. And you can tech in some cards, some princesses to even deepen that value. Let's see. Oh, and there is that Scrooge coming in. You do have to pay full retail value here, but you still can go ahead and dig for some more items. So of the two players, we have Lords of Lore versus SLTC.
Yeah, and if this lore total is correct, this is 16 lore, which is quite a lot. I'm not really sure how we entered this game state. It honestly looks like a board state on like turn 4 or 5 of the game, but these characters that quest for one that aren't typically there. Okay, it's the wrong lore. That must be from the previous game. All right, so we are a little bit earlier on in this game. We're still in the setup phase, but I do see our one Blue Steel player has the Cindy and the Hiram, which is pretty critical. It looks like they don't have the bell necessarily to re-trigger the Cindy and gain that little bit of ramp, but we are going to sing a song and take a removal here on their Scrooge.
Yeah, and to your point earlier, you're talking about how keep the ancient ways could be a big problem in a mirror match. I am wondering if we will see that. It's interesting because in core, it feels like so much science is usually settled, but the science is not completely settled on a lot of these matchups. A lot of people are not playtesting this full time or part time or at all yet. But I do see Inkrunner in here, which makes me believe that on the right, the player has at least started the tech, and we also have Cinderella. So I'm interested to see how this battle continues. We do have this Bell here exerting possibly. Wait, no,
Yeah, and
he's already exerted.
our Blue Steel player did actually go ahead and crack the bell and re-trigger that Cindy, so they did get the full value here. Interesting, they chose to crack the popsicle instead of the ink runner, as we have two of them. I think it probably makes a little bit more sense to take the ink runner off the field and keep the popsicle just in case anytime you need to play a Tama and you need to get another item in the discard. I'm not sure if there's another popsicle or Fortisphere in there, but it would be a way to get that full value out of the Tama 6 because you can't just destroy your own ink runner at will. You can tap it and give something alert for the turn, but you cannot just choose I want this in the discard pile.
Yeah, that's such a good point because I think not all items are created the same. And as we had to get really creative with items in order to make some of these decks work. I mean, for example, I don't think Dylan is running Ruby, but I mean, Ruby was playing some really not suboptimal items, things like shield, and they're just like, is this something? It's just because they're so desperate for items. So not every item is created equal, which I think is why the Forestry ban hurt so hard because it was the optimal kind of item to keep in a deck. Oh, it is. It's a red. It is. I thought I was wrong, but that is Mushu's rocket or one rocket.
Mushu's
Something
rocket is, which I think is actually not an item that you can compare to shield. I think that card is
That
actually
is,
pretty
yeah.
efficient and like can do some good things. I don't see it doing that in this deck per se. You can give some interesting stuff rush and it sticks around, but at least it's inkable. It's a one cost and it is a pretty efficient effect.
Yeah, this is very interesting because I mean, like I mentioned, the items Ruby. I mean, someone said like in the chat, why would you have Bell in RP and red blue? And the answer is, well, I don't know. This is new tech, and I mean, Rooter's Rocket is one cost. I mean, that one cost is kind of the hallmark for making Bell useful. So
Yeah,
now
it's
that
got to
being,
be inkable and it's got to be one cost, right?
yes,
That's the what you want to see if you're an items deck.
yeah. So I mean, this is very interesting, and this is a set 10 card. So this is new tech. This is why this has not been tested before. But there we go. We have Aerial Treasure Collector, which is something that we do see people tech into these matches just because she synergizes so well with items. I believe questing up to 5 max.
Yeah, this is a classic refill turn after a Be Prepared or a Sisu from Red Blue. Playing a Hiram to get a few extra cards, and then playing something that has wards. So if he had the Maleficent Dragon, he can't even target this. This is very threatening if our blue steel player here goes ahead and puts down the dime next turn. That could be just 10 lore right away, and then it threatens to actually end the game next turn if it's not dealt with.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because normally the treasure collector is kind of, I mean, I'm against most decks in the meta other than the mirror. It's like, yeah, obviously I have more items than you, except this one, which is very, very, very fascinating. I mean, that being said, she still is a nice 3 quester with ward. But we don't see dime on board. So she is going to have to exert to get that value. So it is one situation where she's there, but will she get any value?
Yeah, if she has the dime, she still needs 2 other items to get ahead of this item race. So we're probably not going to see it. But that being said, Ariel questing for 3 and taking 3 off a dime trigger is still very, very fast. We might even see if she plays the dime, she might just trigger it and take the 3 and not exert the Ariel. Seeing we have a Mushu's rocket, they could just boost something in and take out the Ariel. We also have the Scrooge, which is big enough to just take out the Ariel itself if she did remove the Scrooge.
So yeah, I mean this Scrooge, this is not the good Scrooge. The Scrooge want uppies. This is Scrooge want items.
I think this is the better Scrooge, but
It
it is
is.
not the flavorful Scrooge, right? We want to be able to boost. We want to be able to develop these characters into things that are you can't deal with. You just can't. It's going to be their all game boost in every turn. But this one does grab an item, and that is pretty good, just replacing itself.
And there is a Scrooge on the board. There, I was like when the card
Talking
readers
about
like,
2 cost red Scrooge.
yeah, Scrooge
We'll
want
boost
uppies.
one.
Come on, uppies. And there we
There he
go.
is. There's the
There's
boy.
he's a ghostly Ebenezer.
Yeah, the greed sickens me, honestly. If you look at that card, the amount of look at those piles of gold. That's me. Those are the cards underneath him actually boosting him to unthinkable levels of power.
We try to ask him to stop, and he goes no, and like hisses. It's really scary to see.
Yeah, you tell him you want to play on curve. No, you're playing one underneath because I'm taking that 1 ink.
Exactly. Come on, Hades him. I dare you. Double dog dare you. But now we are moving into, like we saw, I mean, if there's nothing on the other side of the board, suddenly this Ariel doesn't feel too scared going sideways. That being said, Be Prepared this might be her last chance to do such activities. But we see Merlin's, in words of Luke, he calls this Merlin's handbag. But it's Merlin's carpet bag with your favorite subtype in the ability in the world.
A couple clunky and inkable cards. It's interesting to see these included. I don't necessarily think either of them are necessarily needed for what this deck wants to do, but they are doing some fun stuff here. And I do like to see that Scrooge removed on the side of Dylan because we're either going to force a Be Prepared. I was hoping to see the Mushu's rocket get cracked here with maybe another Scrooge or some sort of character, but we get the boring Be Prepared.
I did think you were gonna say. I thought I set you up so you could do the hockety pockety because you were the only person I've heard on Earth be like, "Oh, the hockety pockety."
That's the one ability you have to announce.
I'm hockety pocketing.
Yeah, I mean it whittles your opponent's will to live down when you hockety pockety 5 turns in a row and you just slowly gain this advantage against them.
I think we had producer Luke going, what? But that is carpet bag, not handbag. Merlin's carpet bag has the ability hockety pockety, which is the if you exert it, pay 1, return an item card from your discard to your hand. It's a little, Tamato is not here right now. Might please take a message. I'll hockety pocket myself, which is perfect for this beautiful Hiram Flaversham, who you must have an item for him to consume, and a popsicle is one of his favorite things. But he will eat sheet metal if you have that available.
Yeah, and I know the card Merlin's Carpetbag has Merlin's name in it, so this is not true. But that card always reminded me of Mary Poppins and the carpet bag that she would carry. Hopefully someday we can get her in Lorcana and we can get some carpet bag action going with some sort of carpet bag deck.
At the very least, we can get the penguins. They're animated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to just we could make an animated version of Mary Poppins if that's the problem to get it in the card game. We
If
got
you've
artists,
seen
right?
Saving Mr. Banks, it's actually not allowed. Miss Travers, PL Travers will come back from the other side and say,
She's
"I
not gonna.
literally made a movie saying don't do that."
Yeah,
The
there was
whole
probably
plot, guy.
some contracts signed there actually that withhold my dream from being fulfilled here. But maybe it's time we shake it up and break some rules. All right, it is Lorcana after all. Anything can happen. Yeah, let's push some boundaries.
Yeah, the boundary is Mary Poppins, but I think it's fun that's pushing the limit. But speaking of pushing the limit, we have more characters being deployed to the board. That's one of the reasons that Be Prepared is cool if you're against a card that or a deck that spits out their hand and can't draw cards. But if you're against a deck that loves to draw cards, it's almost like it never even happened at all. As we build here with the Tamatoa and the Scrooge probably coming in for free. Yep, there we come. So this is why this deck is so, I'm going to say it, problematic, because it just feels like nothing really sets them back. And we saw that like the meta never reached a critical mass where item removal was necessarily ran to the extent it needed to deal with this, because you have to have one card only, and that's surface pressure, or what's the one that gets rid of all the items?
Yeah, it's from that same song. I believe it is called oh man, what is it called actually? She's holding up a donkey.
She is, and it's like someone's gonna say in the chat. I know they will because they're all listening and they're so helpful. I find I'm a flat.
I find I'm flat on me. Yeah.
There
Oh
we
man, I
go.
thought of it right as you read that. Darn it.
You did. You still get credit.
I was like, I played this card in my Amber Steel deck a long time ago. I played
yeah,
it one of,
because it
and I was
reached
really
the
debating
criticality.
playing one of or not. But yeah, I mean, even with that card though, we see cards like Tamatoa that just bring back 2 items. That's really all it takes to get the engine going again. And if we look at the board state of Allison here, we played 2 cards last turn, or 3, including the Scrooge. Scrooge replaces himself by grabbing an item. Tamatoa grabs 2 items from the discard, and Hiram just draws 2 cards. So that on top of the carpet bag, we're actually like netting like 4 cards a turn, which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, it feels almost. I think that's why hyper aggro becomes so popular, because you get to the point where you're like, I can't play with you. I can't beat you in this game. I can't beat you in the end game. So what if I just win before this ever even happens?
Yeah, and I actually think that getting Angel from Winterspell, the 4 cost, that's pretty much an answer to hyper aggro if you play it on turn 3. I think that is tipping the hand that maybe we're going to see some bans in the future. If we just got the an inkable answer to aggro that we could run easily 3 or 4 copies of, and if we just find it answers that problem, like we might have made a deck that has no real inherent weaknesses, and something's probably going to have to be done if we want to not just see this be the only deck.
And that's why we're going to ban Fortisphere and only Fortisphere.
I mean, that would actually be a significant hit to the deck, and I think that would maybe be appropriate if you did not want to just cycle out this deck and see something else.
I don't think RMB will survive that happening twice. I think for his health, we cannot have. They'll be like, but to your point, though, I think this is something fascinating. Not only when we have formats, they're tested, people have seen the science play out, but this is new and bold science. So the ICL doing this is important, because I mean, this is stuff where it's like, okay, how is this going to work? And the answer is blue steel is really good. I mean, right now, especially in this matchup, I mean, you played Ruby Sapphire, the non-items version. Do you think the items version has an edge over this non-items version? Or do you think, because I remember you saying that you preferred playing into Ruby Steel just because it felt like you just had such a big upper hand compared to them?
Yeah, if I were to play Ruby Sapphire, I think in this matchup, I'd want to be playing the items version. I think Merlin's Workshop is one of the only ways you can compete with having the extra 1 cost efficient items like Fortisphere. It is a way that you can also just have an extremely large hand and not just lose the end game to this item Exodia. But at the same time, Blue Steel also got another card that solves that issue, which is Keep the Ancient Ways. And Ruby Sapphire does not have that card to play and stop Blue Steel from winning the item race.
Yeah, it does feel very, very sad that the tech needed is only available, to the steel decks, which, I mean, there is the ability where green steel, goofy recursion, keep ancient ways forever could be something, but does that win, or does it just stop this deck from winning? And that's
No, I think you bring up a good point, and that is a deck that probably most efficiently can actually use the card Keep the Ancient Ways with the way it's set up and recurs and gets up to a board state where it has plenty of cards and you're just kind of pure disruption. I think you need a deck like that that can run out of Diablo and start to profit off of what the blue steel deck wants to do. So I do think green steel is a deck that is on my list of things that could be something that disrupts the blue steel plan. That being said, there's plenty of stuff that blue steel can run and run, look for in the mulligan that disrupts stuff like Diablo. You have stuff like Robot Queen, which can take it out, always on turn 2 of the game. Stuff like you still have, songs like Strength and Storm that Bell can sing if you do go ahead and get that Bell out on turn 1.
Yeah, Mark Ross saying, just wait till I Akut out Steel Champion on turn 3. And I do love Lorcana sentences. I'm going to Akut a Steel Champion right now. I swear it.
I do think Akut is a card that has the chance to break some decks in Infinity. We have all the cards in the card pool to work with, and all of a sudden we have this song that is like a purely card that just buffs whatever's around it, right? It doesn't do anything specific itself other than saying, hey, I'm cheating something out earlier and replacing myself. So cards like that are always going to be staples and should be respected in formats like Infinity, where you have everything from the past to buff up that has rotated out.
Now we do have Rovia's first time chat, and it's purely because they have the anxiety of how many cards are left in Allison's deck. And that's such a good point, because I think of all the cards or decks we've ever seen, this is the greediest deck I've witnessed. You get to the point where it seems like every card is either in their hand, in the inkwell, discarded, or on the board. Have you ever accidentally or on purpose, I mean, I don't know why you're on purpose, but have you seen anyone deck themselves out before on Blue Steel, or is that just, don't worry about it, it's not going to happen?
No, I've never seen it, and I've never done it myself. I mean, maybe back in the days where we played A Whole New World, that was when you'd see stuff like that happen. Typically, you'd be the one milling your opponent because it is a decision to play those cards. But when game states like this are reached, it's typically okay. Well, if your opponent doesn't do anything, you probably just win the game on the next turn. Like, you have so many characters on play, so many items that if the dime ever comes down, you're just one big Tomato and an activation away from probably getting to 20, which is probably what we're going to see here in 1 to 2 turns.
We do see her menacing with a Cinderella. She's been kind of gesticulating at the other board with the Cinderella. And I think, I'm not sure if they're having like a technical issue or something, because I was thinking big. I was thinking about the world at large, and I'm wondering what's going on here.
Not sure what's going on either. I don't think it's going to matter too much, because I think Cinderella is the least of Dylan's worries here. I think there's enough ink on the board and there's enough princesses to go around. I think I'd be worried about these crabs, because if there's one diamond in reach, that it's getting played for free, and then all of a sudden the big brother crab comes down and it's game over.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because that crab, the big brother of So Shiny, it's fascinating how he's nearly useless right now. No one plays him, no one talks about him, no one thinks about him. But in this deck, he is the crown jewel in the long game. We do have Javon saying he's always worried about him.
He's kind of the final piece of Exodia, that everything that this deck has been building towards for this whole game and every game, really. Sometimes you don't need him, though. A lot of times you have a board state that's so wide that just questing out with your board and activating the dime for 2 lore each turn on the 6 cost is enough. But you really want to see him in stuff like the mirror, where if it ever is at all close, you want to threaten to bring down the big one to activate the dime for 9, 10, 12 lore, sometimes even.
Are you doing it right now, or is that like you're going to
Yep, we're going to do it right now. Chat can hear me. There was just a slight miscommunication. Nadu had set her hand off camera for half a second, quickly put it back on camera, but she accidentally left one card down. And Ed here, Dylan, he records all of his matches, and he did go back and double check that, she had like, say, 4 cards in hand, put it off for a second, brought it back, and only had 3. So they did clarify that she had accidentally set, and that's what that Cinderella was. And they're just making it all good. So that's why there's a little bit of delay. So we're probably going to have a little bit of extension since it took a couple of minutes to figure that out.
Do they know I have a Switch 2? Have you told them?
I will tell them right now.
Thank you. That's important. No, that is it. That's one of the things that camera games. It's tricky getting the setup, putting your hand, all that fun stuff. So shout out to the players for getting it sorted. I liked her just menacing with the Cinderella. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I
Like
thought
we
she was
talked.
maybe like it's taken out of Hiram. I don't know how it got buffed, but it's going down. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Um,
I'm gonna actually. I thought she was trying to angel with this, like, because that's my favorite thing with the angel is that you just imagine them chucking, being like, and I'm gonna throw a child at you. I'm gonna throw a duck at you, whatever.
yeah,
Um,
sometimes you forget to play the angel before you start discarding the cards, and it really confuses your opponents.
yeah.
They might call a judge on you, but it's actually just you're revealing your hand. You can do that.
You you'd be like, listen, I'm excited, I'm ready. In this case, I mean, speaking of, you said like I don't know if it's gonna matter. We got the crabs. We also now have the Hades Infernal Schemer, which is a darling of the spot removal world, and he does do that. So now I think it is something where Dylan is truly itching to do a little bit of a be prepared and making it even more tempting. Right, the more you edge them on and say, I shall wipe everything off the board. You're like, I'd like to do that too, even if I don't win at this point. It is personal.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty interesting to see the Hiram be the target there, but we go ahead and remove both the targets off the field. I was gonna say one of the only ways that maybe Dylan could get back into this is if he plays a second free dime with that Tamatoa and then can somehow play an 8 cost Tamatoa double activate and just one turn take out the game. But I do think that would require 12 ink, and I'm seeing I think 10 ink maybe on Dylan's side. I don't know if those are piles of 4 or 5. I can't tell.
Those are craft singles.
Those are craft singles. All right, well,
Yeah,
that's it.
you
That's
heard it.
infinite ink
Yeah, right.
in
Those
my world.
are.
So
I got the blues craft macro. Anyway, so I do love cheese colored sleeves. They are my favorite. But no, and they are kind of square too, right? Because draw pile does look like they're the shape of craft singles based
yeah, I
on
think we're
dice.
getting some distortion to that's cheese illusion is what I'd call that.
It's making me hungry. But here we go. We do have the ink being counted out here. Is it 7? Because if it's 7, no, it's not. We were looking here for seeing if we have any items in our discard, which makes me think maybe perchance their own crab journey shall be here. But I mean, it's kind of do or don't at this point, right? We
Yeah, I
have,
think we got to see it be prepared for sure if this game wants any chance of continuing.
yeah, because I mean, even a little bit of spot removal if they have some kind of sea suit, because we do have the sapphire coil. We have 2 of them in play, but that's just, we need a little bit more than that, especially with 14 on board. We
Yeah, it's not a good sign that the Great Stone Dragon's being inked. If you had to be prepared, you would love to play a card like Great Stone Dragon. It's not going to be any better than it is right now. I think the Tamato is going to be the nail in the coffin because that's too much ink for him to be able to draw the cards, to find the B prep and play it.
And it's fascinating to see these 2 item decks against each other because it kind of does show that I think the items are more the fact that you have Fortisphere and Popsicle just already seem like it makes it heads above the Ruby Sapphire items deck, in my opinion. But you do have access to the coil, but in this matchup, it just doesn't feel like enough of a difference.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think that was one of the reasons why I, back in the day, thought that Blue Steel was actually favored into Red Blue in a lot of formats. We had stuff like Chicha, and then we had stuff like the Fortisphere to be the better item deck to be able to play more items. Your opponent had to have 2 popsicles in order to keep up with your barrage of items, and that didn't always happen. Sometimes they were just playing 1 popsicle, and they relied on those 2 cards from Hiram for a long time.
Oh, Dylan's gamer tag is Edge, so I was right. So I said he had the edge. He is the edge, but he's about to find the edge of the limits of his deck because, yeah, I mean, unless he finds a be prepared, he does not. We're going to go quest quickly. It's that thing where you're like, here we go, and then that is 20. So
Yeah,
Allison
yeah,
was
it
able
looks
to get
like
the win.
he was just making sure he wasn't missing anything and had the outs. He had the single target removal. He went ahead and used it, but realized it's not enough to take off the game here for Allison.
Yeah, and I believe that was the win for Allison there. The Lady of Lore, perchance. But either way, that was a win for not these 2 teams. That was a win for another team that's off camera, but they were on camera. But on camera, we had Luxury 2-1. I just said Lawrence won. I know. I said that at the beginning. I'm riffing.
I think the question is who took that set? If that
Yeah.
was game 3,
Yeah, who
that's what the
won?
audience wants to know here.
Well, that one was won by Allison, but then who won out of that team total? Yeah, like of that. we're doing science. But in the meantime, luxury gaming 2-1 to Flower Farm. But the farm is still fertile, and maybe I don't know if I don't know.
The flowers are still flowing.
There we go.
They're not all dead. Okay, we had a little bit of a revival.
Everyone has a
It
season.
was at
all
the
right?
help of probably the strongest. Okay, it looks like Lords of Lore did win the whole match. It wasn't just that there. Yeah, but the Flower Farm did put up a fight. We got one win there at the end, which was nice to see. But yeah, I think if I learned anything tonight, that Blue Steel is just still the default strongest deck. Everything I saw, even in the game that Blue Steel lost, I think they had some pretty suboptimal stuff. They weren't playing their free cards that you typically want to see when you're on the draw and you want to make up some of that tempo. But yeah, Blue Steel kind of coming out and swinging, and we'll see. I have a couple ideas that might go toe to toe with it, but for now, without the bans, I think it's going to be a bit of a tyrant of the format.
Well, here's what I am most interested in. How do you feel about casting? That was your first time casting. How do you feel?
I feel good. I mean, I think it's pretty similar vibes to PodCana, so I think I've got some experience there, but it was fun.
Not everything's podcast. Okay, this is different.
My life
is live.
PodCana, okay,
My life is. He
don't
wakes
you
up
say
and he
that.
just starts saying, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the pod. Today we have a really special episode."
No, my biggest fear was I'd be. I'm a chronic rambler, and like on PodCon, I find myself doing it too much. So I know casting, it's much worse if you're a rambler and steal a bunch of airtime and you don't find the flow with your castmates. So I think I tried my best to not run away too much with what I was saying, but I think it went well.
We'll see if Luke rehires you. He is the boss here. Give him like $10. He'll probably rehire you. I don't know. That's how I.
J Bomb says ramble on, Sky. So maybe people want to hear my thoughts on the format.
Could they hear you say that? So Sky, you've never got to experience this. Luke will be muted and he won't be muted. If it's funny, he unmutes himself, so he lets the audience hear you. But if it's not funny, he doesn't unmute
If
you.
it's serious business, it's not
Yeah.
unmuted, and then we just sit there and kind of be quiet for a second while people wonder what's happening.
Yeah, like, it looks like me and Sky are being spoken to by Aaron Yeager. And we're like, citizens of Velvet.
I'm gonna do the thing where I put my hand on my ear next time.
I do that. I go, this just in from New York. We are now getting another game here. Yeah. But
I need one of those like clear little tubes.
Yeah, they had some extra ones at the tournament we did a couple days ago at a place.
Is that just a wire like organizer? Why is it a clear tube like that? I've always wondered what's going on.
I think because it's like stretchy. I don't know. I've never been given the power of.
Can we not just hang a small little thin wire down like a normal person would wear headphones? We
do have one question here from Vergy gonna love you long time. It's from Fergie Ferg. If you guys know Black Eyed Peas, I'm sorry I said that. Who wins, Blue Steel versus Amber Steel songs? I mean, probably.
You answer first. Don't piggyback off my answer.
You're like, I'm not on podcast. I'm Cousins Cast. All right.
No, you gotta participate.
Much lower standard.
I gotta make sure I get your honest answer first.
My honest answer is, I mean, I haven't seen the newest iteration of Amber Steel song. However, I do think the edge is that you do have access to Pete and Keep the Ancient Ways. You could technically try to lock them out. I do think the card draw is outpaced, I think, in Blue Steel. So it'd be very difficult to keep up with the fact that they're going to be keeping, even if you're like keeping a little bit in check, as long as they can keep some value on board. Plus Hiram being a nice 1/6, that's always been a problem. So as long as he's legal, you have to throw so much to get rid of him. So I just feel like between Hiram, Scrooge McDuck, and the card draw, you get to a point where you're just going to run out of gas. And if you're playing Keep Ancient Ways, like, are you still winning? I would say, like, generally, I think Blue Steel would be favored. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Blue Steel is pretty favored. I think Steel Song, even with Keep the Ancient Ways, I don't think Steel Song is the deck that wants to run Keep the Ancient Ways. It doesn't net you a card, and yes, you do have a whole new world to keep wheeling and dealing, but it doesn't feel great to lose one there. You're not always going to have those multiple wheel games. That being said, it's inkable. It's probably going to be played if there is some sort of Steel Song deck, but I just don't think Steel Song is a great deck in Infinity. I think raw value, you can just absolutely outstat it. I remember a game I played against Steel Song when it was all the rage at Infinity, and I had the worst opener ever on the draw, and I think turn 5 they ended up actually conceding. So there's just some absolute crazy things you can do. If you think about how many items the blue steel deck plays, and at any point, Steel Song ripping a wheel, and the likelihood of you getting above 4 items to play a Scrooge and then play a Bell for free because you have a full new hand, it is very likely. Like Bell and Scrooge, like are almost like if Steel Song could play Bell and Scrooge themselves, they would be like eating good. And if you're giving your opponent those free Bells and Scrooge, like they're probably winning the game. They play the same removal songs, so I just think Blue Steel is like a much better raw power value engine. And the one way to shut them down is to either take away their cards or match their draw and disrupt them. And I think Steel Song is just feeding Blue Steel more cards to guarantee what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think to your point, because I mean, like Color mentioned, Find and Platinum and Ancient Ways, like that's good, but I just think you're still, if you think about the economy of how much value they're getting per turn, I feel like if I'm playing the control deck, they're still kind of going to outpace me as the Amber Steel deck, where I'll get some value, but I can't win the war, and I'm just going to play a long, grindy match. But I do think Green Steel, I think that to your point, Color, with the Max Goof and Muses, there's something going on there. Like you said, getting rid of cards. When in doubt, rip the cards from their hand, which is why life is hard now. Imagine if we could just make you discard your dogs. Tramp 7, I don't see him.
Yeah, I think Infinity is the ultimatum of all these decks do something pretty well, right? But you got to do something very, very well. And I think you're going to see more and more polarizing decks that, okay, the Amber Steel aggro is good because it's absolutely the fastest deck and it can go under some of the decks that need a little bit more time. Blue Steel is just like, currently, I think it does everything. So that's why it is the best. But if you take a look at something like Dogs, it's another just crazy fast deck that also puts a lot of just raw strength and toughness on the board with playing things like multiple tramps. Seeing sometimes I think you can make board states with yellow green that's like you have a Grandma Willow, you have like one Akud, and you just pop off and drop the whole hand, and you cycle through your whole deck to find all your tramps and play them, and that's how you win, and you keep them from like playing a B prep or a Sisu. We also have stuff like Green Steel, which is like the ultimate disruption deck, right? It's completely its gameplay is completely polarized. We're not seeing as much all around, mid-range kind of go here and there and be the all-around guy. We need to be doing something to the absolute maximum, and that means building your entire deck to play around Diablo and play around stuff like Muses, which plays into the Diablo like very well. So I think if you're building a deck, take something and take it to the absolute extreme, because that's what all the other decks that are currently in contention for being a playable deck are doing.
Yeah. I mean, even like I think about hyper aggro, because I mean, hyper aggro with like your daisies, your nalas. I mean, even like a Lila bundled up would be good. But the fact that Dogs has access to Under the Sea just makes it where I'm like, man, Dogs might be a problem everywhere. But then I'm thinking Dogs versus Blue Steel items. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's disruptive enough. They don't care about going under the sea where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, turn 1 Bell is always going to be a problem. And
yeah,
now that Blue Steel got Angel, like if you ever can crack a Bell in your opening curve and then play an Angel on 3, like I struggle to see any aggressive opener that's going to be able to be comfortable with those 2 cards on the field, especially when the Bell is going to start threatening to sing Strength, threatening to sing Storm as well, which is an even better card to keep an engine going. And the fact that you could just play an Angel the turn before on like turn 3 and then play a Hiram, and it's probably just like feeding you enough cards to activate Angel every turn is like pretty insane. Which leads me again to say that I think they're planning on changing something. I think they're going to have some sort of bans come in and change with these new additions from Winterspell.
They call it the Cesar Malone curve. I wanted to say that a while ago, but you kind of went on for a while. But to your point, I have dog ear. She was sleepy. She's only corn chips.
That's the real Angel, actually.
Yeah, this is Bougie Boo. But yeah, this has been an honor. I don't know where Luke is. Luke, are we dismissed? We're gonna do it in 10 seconds. Oh wow, that happened so fast. Okay, well, I'll see you later, Sky. But all right, bye everyone, I guess. We have a minute. Well, Luke and everyone will be back tomorrow.
I won't be back tomorrow.
Luke.
This was a one and done for me, probably.
What? No. Okay. Really? Was that bad? Okay. Well. All right.
No. I had fun. I'll come back if I'm invited back. I'll come back and I'll maybe commentate some core or a format where there's a little bit more fleshed out and it's not.
I know, right? Commentating Infinity, like whenever people are like, do you wanna do Infinity? I'm like, as long as there's no blue steel, because it's just saying, and there's more items, there's more items.
Yeah, I was ready to give some serious mega mind in depth play by play where I'm predicting what both people are doing because the format's so locked in. But I guess I got blue steel. Like that's pretty easy. They're gonna play Tamato. They're gonna play.
I know, I was ready, and then they're like, and then it's that matchup. I was like, oh, all right, it's that matchup, everyone. But anyway, we love Infinity here. Puppy Snort is exactly the content I'm here for. She was really sleepy. She went to the vet today.